exclusive web address, ziprecruiter.com/free. Zip Intro. Post jobs today. Talk to qualified candidates tomorrow. Once again, go to ziprecruiter.com/free to try it for free. That's ziprecruiter.com/free.
Out on credit cards, struggling with high interest debt? You can pay it all off in days with Loan Pronto's Rapid Equity Loan. Hey, it's Dennis Cox. Get cash out now without touching your low-rate first mortgage. No appraisals, no waiting, no BS. The Rapid Equity Loan program at Loan Pronto is amazing. One Loan Pronto client just got $300,000 approved in under 24 hours. They paid off debt, renovated the kitchen, and cut their monthly expenses by $1,800. That's a huge turnaround. Loan Pronto, instant approvals, low rates, no hard credit pull up front. Listen, your home equity is yours. Use it. Get cash to consolidate your debt down to one easy low monthly payment. Call Loan Pronto now for a free instant appraisal for your home and see how much cash you can get today. Loan Pronto is A+ rated by the BBB and have nearly 2,500 5-star Google reviews. Their service is off the charts. Call now to start the conversation. 919-381-1760, loanpronto.com. 919-381-1760. Get debt relief now. loanpronto.com. Equal housing lender. NMLS 166171 on approved credit. NMLSconsumeraccess.org.
What is dedication?
I think a parent's job is to protect our children, but also prepare them for the world so they become good, kind human beings.
That's dedication. Find out more at fatherhood.gov.
Prescriptions require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if appropriate. Restrictions apply. See website for details and important safety information. Price varies based on product and subscription plan.
Hey guys, let's talk ED because millions of men experience it. But not everyone can access or afford treatments like Viagra. HIMS can help. Through HIMS.com, you can access a full range of treatment options for ED through a 100% online process. To start your free online visit and save up to 95%, go to HIMS.com/joy. HIMS.com/JOY.
I'm attorney Brian Ritchie. Workers' comp can be tricky, but my law firm will be on top of all the complicated paperwork and sneaky deadlines so that all of your I's are dotted and T's are crossed. If you've been hurt on the job, I'm on top of it. Contact us at ritchielaw.com.
Broadcasting live from the Lenovo Studios. WCMC HD1 Holly Springs. 99.9 The Fan. The Triangle Sports Leader.
I'm WRAL meteorologist Elizabeth Gardner. Two things that we're watching for this afternoon. One, the intense heat. We'll see a high of 95, and of course it'll feel more like 103 to 104 with the heat index. Looking at evening thunderstorms, we have a WRAL weather alert day that's in effect for the potential for damaging winds and heavy rain. Storms will end around midnight, 71, and a little cooler and not as humid tomorrow with a high of 91.
Weather report brought to you by Newcomb & Company, where your comfort is their business. Visit newcombandcompany.com. 3 o'clock check of your money. Dow Jones down 44 points to 42,171.
Bryce in the pocket, steps up, eludes the rush, throws, end zone, caught, Adam Thielen, touchdown!
He'll toss it that way to Hampton, and he is in. Touchdown, Carolina.
Bailey, shotgun, snap left hashes, QB keeper, dives forward, touchdown. Bailey is third of the night.
Cooper faces up with 5 and 4, drives Davis, spins, waiting, fades away, and hits! Game over! Series over! Sebastian!
The Drive with Tim Donnelly on 99.9 The Fan.
The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. On a Thursday, I'm Tim Donnelly, hanging out with us today yet again, producing the show, producer Max. And that obviously means Dennis, still out, still under the weather. But we push on. We power through. And to do so, as we always do, we start with the big 3 at 3. The dramatic music actually makes sense today because there's a potential closeout game in the NBA. We could have a NBA season in the rear view mirror. NBA Finals Game 6 tonight with the Thunder leading 3-2. And Tyrese Halliburton for the Pacers, at the very least, not 100%. Dealing with that calf strain, had an MRI. They're going to take him through some workouts and everything. He's expecting to be out there. I don't know if we'll see much of him, and if we do, it definitely won't be 100%, and that's huge. That's quite important in a series like this. Here's Tyrese Halliburton speaking to the media on how to make the right decision on whether to play or to say the injury's bad enough that I shouldn't.
I have a lot of trust in our medical staff. I have a lot of trust in our organization to make the right decision. I think there's been many situations through the course of my career where they've trusted me on my body. I mean, you're here more than anybody. You know, I'm questionable from time to time throughout the course of the season, and they trust me to make the right decision on my body when the power is in my hands. And you know, I'm going to try my best to do that. But I mean, you understand. I want to be out there, and you know, that's the plan.
The plan is to be out there. The issue is Halliburton just out there probably isn't good enough. You need Halliburton out there and effective. Halliburton out there and able to move and cut and run and defend and run the offense. I'll tell you right now, if we look at the end of this one, end of the game tonight, and the prevailing thought we're having is, well, the Thunder won that game because Halliburton was hurt, that's going to be a real bummer. Not to take anything away from the Thunder, right? They've been dominant. They were my pick to win the entire thing from a while ago. But that would just be an anticlimactic end to what I think was a pretty good season. So you hope Halliburton at least, I mean, you make the jokes about, like, you know, give him the horse tranquilizer, right? Give him the big shot and let him go out there and figure it out. He's got a whole off season, but you know, you probably nothing to joke about, and you don't want it to require that, but injuries are a part of the game. That's number one in the big three at 3. Number 2, NC State is packing, and this is not an exaggeration. They are packing darn near an entire decade of basketball events into the first couple of months of the Will Wade era. There's the big flirtations with NBA players that end up NBA players. There's the signings, the rumored signings. There's the NIL rumors. They've had everything. Players coming back or not coming back. They're everything. And now for the first time, they have a player leaving the program, which is crazy because it's the same offseason. NC State men's basketball received a decommit from Congolese big man Paul Mbiya. He wanted to reopen his recruitment. He requested it, and it appears it's going to be granted. That all according to On3. I have, you know, it's so ironic because UNC just was the butt of a joke made by Will Wade. Will Wade, in introducing his team at an event in Raleigh a couple of days ago, said, right, Van Allen Lubin, when he plays 28 minutes or more, he averages 15 and 8. The other team that we got him from was too dumb to play him. And I'm paraphrasing, but the dumb, that's a direct quote. Well, you know what? Go back to the people you were just joking about, right? Go back to UNC, call up Hubert, and say, hey, sorry about it, but I do have a question. How difficult is it to play in the ACC without legitimate size in the post? I know you guys just did a year of it. How tough was that? Because we're considering it now.
Well, you know, they got the 6'10" guy from Wyoming,
they did.
though.
Scotty Ebube, and I apologize if I'm mispronouncing that. They, you know, an hour before I learned of the news that Mbiya was leaving, they got the commitment from Scotty Ebube. 6'10", 275-pound center from Wyoming. 5 points, 2.5, 2.7 rebounds per game at Wyoming. No disrespect to the Cowboys. One of the all-time logos, right? The silhouette of the cowboy on the bucking bronco or whatever that is. Good on the Cowboys. The fighting Josh Allens. But that is not the same as doing it night in and night out in the ACC. And if you're only putting 5 points and 2.7 rebounds together for Wyoming, then yesterday I said I thought he was good depth. I thought he was at least 5 fouls. I thought he was big, and he could come in and spell the big guys. I don't think you want to be depending on him as essentially what you said Van Allen Lubin was going to be. You don't want to give this guy 30 minutes. Mbiya has been playing professionally, Right, he's 20 years old, by the way. I know he's going to be a freshman, but he had been playing for the French pro team Asvel, A-S-V-E-L, of the EuroLeague. I'm not familiar with the EuroLeague, but I do know that team was owned by Tony Parker, French basketball legend, Spurs legend. So he's been – you would have expected him or depended on him or trusted him to play a bigger role. Now you look around the NC State roster. It's not that they don't have any size, right? As we just brought up, the new player, 6'10", 275, that's a big boy. Jerry Deng is 6'9". Then Allen Lubin, who we brought up, is 6'8". Those are close to big. If they're your power forward and you have a true center on the floor, okay. But Jerry Deng, I just watched a social media video. You know how the I don't know what the marketing departments, social media departments, I guess, they do the viral videos. Like you ask a question when they're walking out of practice and everyone has to answer it. One of the questions that NC State asked all of their basketball players was, who has the best nickname? And Jerry Deng was one of the more popular answers because his nickname is Clip, because he can shoot. All right, well, if you're 6'9" and you can shoot, you're probably not spending a lot of time around the bucket. That's where you need size to battle against the traditional big guys in the ACC, similar to what UNC had last year. They had Withers. They had Washington. They had 6'10", 6'11", but those guys wanted to be on the perimeter. Thus, they got bullied quite a bit by teams that had more size. So you made fun of UNC, and then you kind of became UNC. Oh, yeah, but we got all this on the perimeter. Oh, you mean like somebody that might be an ACC player of the year? Oh, you mean somebody that maybe was a 5-star recruit? Oh, R.J. Davis, Ian Jackson. Somebody that might be drafted in the first round, Drake Powell. Right, they had the perimeter. They didn't have the big guys, and it showed up. And then lastly, number 3 on the big 3 at 3. The Lakers were sold yesterday at a $10 billion evaluation. This has been sitting with me uneasy since that news broke while we were on the air yesterday. And since last show, there's been something about that was just not cool with me, and I think I know what it is. Selfishly, and probably unfairly, because when you have your money, you can spend it however you want. I want my owners to metaphorically live and die with the team. I want them to have been fans. I think it's what we don't like about David Tepper. David Tepper's made a lot of bad decisions or has run a dysfunctional franchise as the owner of the Carolina Panthers. But we would give so much more leeway if he were invested from the area. If he were a diehard Panther fan and it was his dream to own the Panthers, not just his dream to own a team, not just a good investment, right? If you know anything about David Tepper's history, he was born and raised in Pittsburgh. He went to the University of Pittsburgh, got his grad degree from Carnegie Mellon in Pittsburgh. He was for a decade a partial owner of the Pittsburgh Steelers. So when he owns the Carolina Panthers and doesn't make decisions well, we're not going to be cool with it. One thing I knew about the Lakers was the Buss family lived and died with the Los Angeles Lakers. Jerry Buss bought it for $70 million roughly in 1979, and it came with the LA Kings, the Forum, and 1,300 acres of mountainous real estate in California. And he built the Lakers into what they are today. Now this next guy takes over. Guess what? Mark Walter, whatever his name is. He owns the Dodgers. He owns the Sparks. He owns a Formula One team. He owns I believe, entire Professional Women's Hockey League. He owns 12.7% of the holding company that owns Chelsea and some other hockey program, or not hockey program, soccer program overseas. He's not going to live and die with the Lakers. It's just another part of his portfolio. And that's a bummer. Even if they win more, because he has more money, right? He can go into the third apron or whatever they want to spend up to. It just doesn't feel as wholesome. And I might be an old guy yelling at clouds, and this is the way it's going to be, and every team's going to be owned by some tech billionaire. I get it. But I don't have to like it. That's the Big 3 at 3 here on The Drive with Tim Donnelly on 99.9 The Fan. Yesterday, I was on social media. Dangerous place. And I saw TSN. They put a question out there. What would a Florida Panthers trade package for Connor McDavid look like? And I went, wait a second. That's a ridiculous question, but this is the time for ridiculous questions. So I'm going to put together my craziest offseason possibility for the Canes. That, if you do the math, actually is possible. So it's crazy, it's outlandish, it's a question that draws us to our far tips of believability, and I will answer it next. Don't go anywhere.
NASCAR Prime is gearing up for the Tricky Triangle at Pocono.
This is the moment you've all been waiting for.
After 5 decades of racing tradition, it's clear that strategy is king at Pocono.
Finally, some separation between first, second, and third.
3 legendary turns, 3 unique approaches.
Wow, that's close.
Who will tame the triangle this year? Don't miss the Cup Series at Pocono, streaming Sunday at 1 p.m. Eastern. NASCAR, it's on Prime.
Heineken Silver is a world-class light beer with only 2.9 carbs and 95 calories. It keeps things light and refreshing all year round. It's like rain showing up to cool things off and then politely leaving. It's like cracking open a window and nailing the cross breeze. So, as we move into the warmer weather, grab a crisp and refreshing Heineken Silver and taste the difference. Only 2.9 carbs and 95 calories. Available at your local Heineken retailer or for delivery at Heineken.com/silver now. Must be 21 plus to purchase. Enjoy Heineken responsibly.
Bank of America is the nation's leading business lender, and we're ready to help with your next goal here in the Triangle. That's why we have over 3,700 local business specialists across the country. Because with the right team, your business and community prosper. What would you like the power to do? Learn more at bankofamerica.com/local business. Bank of America, official bank of FIFA Club World Cup 2025. Bank of America Corporation, all rights reserved.
Struggling to get the sleep treatment you need? I'm Megan Giggling, General Manager of Parkway Sleep Health Centers. You shouldn't have to wait for better sleep. Our streamlined process provides for sleep studies, CPAP machines, and supplies, without the long delays you'll find at other sleep centers. At Parkway Sleep, we'll help you get good rest faster, and with the care you deserve.
With over 20 years of experience, join countless satisfied customers who have discovered the Parkway Sleep difference. Visit us today at parkwaysleep.com. Parkway Sleep Health Centers. Sound sleep, sound health.
Thomas lost it. Now here comes Robinson the other way. He scores! The Canes kept it rolling and right on cue. Eric Robinson's 12th of the year.
The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. Sometimes I think it's a good exercise to just take all the speed governors off. Sometimes I think it's a good exercise to intentionally let your imagination run away with you. Because it might, everything might not happen, but it might trigger or spark some kind of inspiration that leads you down a different path that normally you wouldn't, that's not possible. No, that's unrealistic. Right? Like I said yesterday, it wasn't even 24 hours after the Florida Panthers hoisted the cup for the first time, and already TSN had put out an article, like a video, like they did the whole thing on what would a Panthers trade package for Connor McDavid look like. And my first thought was like, I love to hit the trade calculator and go crazy as much as everyone, but come on. Like, McDavid's not going to lose to him twice and then immediately be like, yeah, I'll go there and sign my extension. Just give up a nice trade package. But then I was like, you know what? That's what this time of the year is for. Right? Free agency doesn't even open until July 1st. So there's this time where all the exercises, right? What would you do if? It's actually a good way. It was in my, I think it was high school commencement speaker speech. I don't even remember who gave the speech. It was probably like a former governor or something. But the speech was basically, imagine yourself where money was no object. What would you do with your life? And then try to find a way to get someone. Hey, maybe it stuck harder than I thought, because I was probably like, argue about sports with my friends. Well, look where I ended up. If you took off all of the conventional wisdom that you put on yourself when you're talking about free agency, what would you come up with? When you talk about trades, what would you come up with? And I'm not saying make a trade that's unfair, but I'm saying if every reasonable trade or that you wanted was within realm, was within possibility. Right? No problem asking the question. So the question is essentially, what is the absolutely crazy, it'll never happen, but hey, maybe it could happen scenario for your Canes offseason? Or even better, a better way to put it, and it's one of my favorite analogies, the Seinfeld finale theory, which, if I told you this, I'm sure I've used this one. I use it all the time. Seinfeld finale, have I not told you this one?
I don't know if I've personally heard this
one.
Okay.
Seinfeld finale it's universally considered a bad finale, right? It was 70 whatever million people watched. It was a bad finale. And the reason why it was bad is because everyone that was a diehard fan of Seinfeld had written their perfect Seinfeld finale in their head because it was that popular. And there were so many different characters. And, I want this guy's whatever it's called, a character arc to be closed, and I want this plot line to be buttoned up, and I want these two to end up together. And then in the finale happened, and it didn't go exactly the way I wrote it in my brain, so I was disappointed. And you too, and none of us were happy. When in actuality, if we just had no expectations, maybe we would have been happier. So basically, I'm asking you, what was your absolutely scripted, perfect version of the Seinfeld finale? Only instead of the Seinfeld finale, it's your Canes offseason. And I put it together, and I actually did the math for me. Here we go. First of all, if you've been listening to the show, you know it's going to start with Jason Robertson. So the first thing I did was I took the $28.4 million in cap that the Canes currently have, and I worked a trade for Jason Robertson in there, a winger from Dallas. I put as a trade, and I tried to keep it realistic, 2 first-round picks, Scott Morrow, and sweeteners. Sweeteners could be prospects or additional picks. Okay, the point being there that they didn't take off of the starting lineup. If you wanted to put like Carrier in there or something, fine. Just so they had, because they're in absolute cap jail after signing Matt Duchene, just so they had another super cost-efficient starter. There you go.
Yeah, in this scenario, are the first-round picks, you're just giving their first-round picks back?
Most likely, because that unlocks their other 2 first-round picks that they get. Then next up, I went Mitch Marner, 7-year contract, $14 million per. By the way, after the Robertson deal, if I removed Morrow and not even including removing Carrier, that left the Canes with $28.55 million in cap for next season. Mitch Marner next up, 7 by 14. After that, so now we have 2 super-duper wings, right? $7.55 million left in cap, and you have Robertson, you have Marner. There's my new first line, by the way. Aho in the middle, flanked by Robertson and Marner. For the center position that I've been screaming about, go a little Puce Suter from Vancouver. Free agent, did some research. It appears like the market says, right, I don't know if everybody knows of the market setting calculators or whatever, the analytics that tell you how much they're worth. One of the options for a market contract for Suter, the center from Vancouver, was 4 years, 4.9 per. So I locked that in. I'm down to $2.65 million in cap space. This is where I trade Kokiniemi. And I trade Kokiniemi for bringing back a 4th-round pick. I don't really care what you get back. I don't want to buy him out, and I don't want to have to eat any of his cap hit. So I will take back a bag of pucks as long as whoever takes Kokiniemi eats all $4.82 million of his cap hit, takes that off the books, brings the Canes up to $7.47 million in cap space. There, I'm thinking right-hand defenseman, and while a lot of people want to go like 30-plus-year-old veteran, I'm going to mix it up, go Nick Perbix from Tampa. Again, the online people tell me he can be had for 3 years, $2.5 million per. So now you have a starting lineup. Okay, now everything is filled, and everything else you do from here is for depth and luxuries. And you still have $4.97 million in cap space. I think you carry that into the season. Okay, yeah, for someone you want to buy at the deadline. And thus enters the next portion of my plan. You wait for Buffalo to stink. Because I do believe Buffalo is going to give it one more run. I've been saying this for weeks. Right? When you are staring at such a long postseason drought, you don't jump into a rebuild with happy, eager feet making that leap. So you wait for Buffalo to stink, and then they start selling, obviously, right? Even if they sell Peterka during the offseason, I think they could do that. I think it'll bring back a real player, maybe a defenseman, who knows. And that will set them up to go on one little run, but they won't because I don't think they're that good. So when they get ready to sell, Tage Thompson, trade. And the price being whatever it needs to be. And I understand that if you have to take on all of his money, there might be, depending on what time you bring him in, might be a little bit you have to flex the cap a little bit, which you could do by sending someone back in the trade, right? It's unlikely they're not going to take any NHL players back. Or just put someone on long-term IR. I don't know. I'm not going to sit here and act like they can't. Eric Tulsky can't find a way to come up with $400,000 in cap space if it means getting Tage Thompson. So, in case you're wondering, just to visualize that, which, by the way, all makes sense in cap. And I believe they'd be able to get Tage Thompson under there on the prorated part of his salary that they and the cap space that they have. And then the cap goes up next year. You get a goalie and everything happens. You probably got to pay a whole bunch of guys anyway because obviously none of this includes the Robertson, Stankoven, or Nikishin contracts that would have to come the next year.
Yes.
This is all about winning a cup on the 20th anniversary of the last cup.
So I've been plugging all your moves into the Puckpedia, Puck GM here.
Love it.
So you have 4.6 in space when you get to that ideal Tage Thompson trade. So then you need to offload another 2.5, 2.6.
Unless we had gotten rid of Carrier in the first trade, in which case then we're down to 0.6, 0.4. Or we could send Carrier in the Tage Thompson deal as well, which would then have our playoff lines, right? By the time everything settles, top line would be Aho, Marner, Robertson, bananas. Second line would be Tage Thompson flanked by Jarvis and Svetch, because all of this without giving up Svetch, which I think is a definite possibility this offseason if they do go true trophy hunting. Nothing changing about the Stahl line. I want Stahl centering Martinook and Stankoven. Stankoven plays well there, brings that same edge and a little bit of scoring pop. Then, because you bring in Thompson to be your 2 center, your first half of the year 2 center, and Suter gets to be your 4th line center. And then he is either skating with Carrier and Blake, or Jankowski and Blake, or Nadeau and Blake. And then whichever of those is not skating becomes your extras, right? If Carrier is still there, which would take some cap gymnastics, then Jankowski and Nadeau are your extras, your 13th and 14th forward. If Carrier is gone, then, again, depending on who's playing, depending on how much they like Nadeau, if he's playing two-way hockey the way he should, all those things, he can be in there. If not, more than happy to have Jankowski out there on the ice. With Nadeau either in the AHL being ready to be called up for long-term absences, and you have some other super cheap veteran as your everyday daily scratch, or otherwise. Your defensive pairings would be Slavin and Walker, which I'm fine with, actually enjoy. Nikishin Chatfield, which I think would be bananas. Gostisbehere paired with the new guy Perbix, and then Freddie in goal with Kochetkov as your second goalie in that 1-1-1 rotation during the regular season, and you go from there. If you need to cut costs, I do think you could get a third-line right-handed defenseman cheaper than Perbix, and that could be another place you pick up whatever salary cap you need to, or more salary cap space that you need if you think you need to hold it over for Thompson. But that right there is a nerdy way of saying this. The Canes have so many options, right? It's a nerdy way because you got to go through and do all the math and figure it all out. But if you tell me you can be an Eastern Conference Finals team and improve your lineup that much with your resources, cup or bust next year. I'm saying it now. Most people won't say it until the moves are made, but I'm going with all of this kinetic energy, all this potential energy might be the way to say it, all of this force. You just have to convert it to actual on-ice contributions. It's cup or bust next season. You were in the Eastern Conference Finals and stockpiling like a rebuilding team. Adding Robertson, Thompson, and Marner. And obviously the Thompson part of it does take some things out of your hands. If Buffalo starts hot, they're not going to be selling. But go find somebody that isn't starting hot and buy their center from them. Just hope that they're somewhere in the $7 to $8 million a year or less range. and then tell Rod, it's on you now, buddy, right? Because then you look at the coaching staff, you look at the leadership, you look at the veteran players, the core, and you go, we've given you everything you've asked for. Now it's time for you to go make good, and I believe they will.
The looks of that roster for next year is definitely like very enticing. The only problem in this scenario is just like how kind of cap strapped you are moving forward, especially like if you trade for Jason Robertson, he's already making 7.75. His extension is easily going to be $10 million plus a year moving forward for a guy who is like a 35, 40 goal scorer every year.
But we are not that far, and people aren't going to like this, from Stahl, Martinook, Chatfield, all of these guys coming off the books, which it becomes a real waiting game. And if you need to trade somebody, you got to go a lot of guys under. I mean, I don't even want to talk about the names that would be the options there, but there are quite a few. Like, you have to go all in at some point. This past year, you didn't, and it makes this offseason so much more fun. And you tried to go all in, and then you bailed, and you didn't with the Mikko stuff. But at some point, you got to put your chips on the table and see if you win. We can't be every year in the Eastern Conference Finals going, and they got here a year early. It can't be every year. At some point, it has to be all in and go, we'll figure out the future with the future. Like, that's future us's problem. And then you go from there. But that's my dream scenario.
That's the thing with the whole Marner thing for me, though. Like, obviously he is the top available player, and it's going to come at a significant cost. But I feel as though if you're going to commit that $14 million, like, would you rather commit that to one guy for the next 7 years, or do you want to spread that out a little bit? You could still get a lot of very good pieces. It might not be like the top guy.
My thing is this: there's guys that are way more than $2 million worse than him that are going to cost $11.5 or $12 million a year. So it's if you're not going to go to a $13-14 million a year player, I almost think you don't go higher than like $7 million a year on anybody, because there's a certain level where once you cross the threshold, you might as well go get your dude. So that's why it's in my go-to all-out fantasy version of craziest ideas for the Carolina Hurricanes. Now, like I said, this is how do I describe this? It's like what the old ladies' men say to the young whippersnappers, right? If you see an absolutely gorgeous woman, just go up and shoot your shot, right? She may be so good-looking that most men are intimidated, and nobody even thinks to ask, right? So if you're Eric Tulsky, I don't know, make the calls. See if it's possible. Oh, they're not going to trade Robertson. Actually, they're in cap jail, and maybe you might want to make the call. Oh, there's no way Perbix would take that much. There's no way Suter would take that. Man, I don't know. Call the agent, see what they're dealing with. Maybe they want to go to a market that isn't, New York City media. Maybe they don't want to go to Canada, and that limits them. And maybe they want to stay here. And now, okay, they're willing to take $500,000 less. You make the call. All they can do is say no. All they can do is say no.
That's why I have such faith in Tulsky, because if anyone is making all those calls, it's him.
I imagine it's kind of adrenaline rush when you see Eric Tulsky popping up on your caller ID on your phone. You tell your assistant GM, all right, Tulsky's calling. Let's see what this guy wants.
Make sure I don't give away my best player for a bag of pucks.
And hey, if you can make it happen. The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. Dean's List coming up next. Don't go anywhere.
Dennis Cox here for my friends over at Law Tigers. Folks, before you get on the motorcycle, you have to be prepared. It's no different than sports. We always hear about preparation, getting ready for the game. Getting on a motorcycle, it's no different. Is your bike in proper working order? That includes your tire pressure. Have you washed your bike recently? Believe it or not, washing your bike is one of the best things you can do to preserve your bike, to make sure it's in proper working order. Make sure you have all those things set and ready to go even before you get on the motorcycle and get on the road. But if you're injured in a motorcycle accident, this is where you go to Law Tigers before you contact your insurance company at 1-800-LAW-TIGERS. Again, 1-800-LAW-TIGERS is the number to call if injured in a motorcycle accident. Law Tigers attorneys are part of the motorcycle riding community. That's what makes them so vital. So contact them, 1-800-LAW-TIGERS, even before you contact your insurance company. Law Tigers is a network of independent law firms who are members of the American Association of Motorcycle Injury Lawyers. Law Tigers Tigers is not a law firm.
Is your whole home operating at peak performance? With Newcomb & Company, your independent trained dealer, proudly serving our community for over 70 years. As a Comfort Contract customer, you'll get priority service and a 15% discount on all HVAC and plumbing service calls and repairs, including repairs and replacements for faucets, toilets, piping, garbage disposals, water heaters, drain cleaning, and more. Call 919-862-3000 or visit newcombandcompany.com. Newcomb & Company. Your comfort is our business.
Our state's future begins with our students. That's why the North Carolina Education Lottery has contributed over $10 billion to education. Through scholarships, school construction, support staff, and pre-K programs, lottery dollars move our state forward, helping students become the best versions of themselves. Visit movingncstudentsforward.com and share how your student or school community has benefited for a chance to earn $2,000 for your story. Must be 18 to play. Problem Gambling Helpline 877-718-5543.
Hey girl, haven't seen you downtown lately.
Nope, sticking to our go-to places.
You mean like Sharky's?
Well, we love our Sharky's. Best wings and gumbo on the planet. But we never miss the $5 sangrias on Wednesdays at the new Salt and Lime and Mexican pints on Thursdays for $3.
You know my boy loves the House of Hops. No better selection of craft beer in the state. Loves their specials, their food trucks, and you know I love my wine. They have a wonderful selection.
And have I told you about our new takeout spot, Che Empanadas? It's right next to Sharky's. They have 20 different types of authentic Argentinian empanadas, and they are incredible, especially the breakfast ones. You gotta try it.
Sounds perfect. And how awesome is it that they're so close to each other?
Yes!
Give them a try. Che Empanadas, House of Hops, Salt and Lime, and Sharky's. Just a hop, skip, and a jump from each other off Durley Road, Glenwood, and Grove Barton.
When you're hiring, have you ever felt like you're missing out on meeting truly great candidates for your roles? It seems impossible to find them, but they have to be out there somewhere, right? Well, they're not hard to find when you know where to go, and that place is Ziprecruiter. And right now, you can try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. ZipRecruiter helps 10 million people with their job search every day. And because these people are actively looking for jobs just like yours, it's easy to find the right person right away. In fact, 4 out of 5 employers who post on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. But if you're not using ZipRecruiter, you're missing out. So see what it's like when the impossible is easy. When you go to ZipRecruiter.com/free right now to try ZipRecruiter for free. Once again, that's ZipRecruiter.com/free. ZipRecruiter.com/free. Never miss out on great candidates with ZipRecruiter.
This is The Drive with Tim Donnelly here on 99.9 The Fan. Right about this time every day, we do something we call the Dean's List. So let's go ahead and put class in session. This is where we highlight, we give a little extra praise, pass a few extra accolades to those that deserve it in the college sports world. Have to be directly or indirectly related to college sports. We'll start with a really cool opportunity. Duke women's basketball makes the Dean's List. Duke will be playing Baylor women's basketball to open their season. That part, okay. The location, very cool. The game is part of a doubleheader at the Adidas Arena in Paris for what they're calling the We Play, like O-U-I, We Play Paris 2025 event. The other end of the doubleheader will be Vanderbilt and Cal facing off in a time to be announced later, right? The actual tip-off's not known. I'm becoming more and more in favor of this. The location regular season game. It used to be, like, even in college football, the bowl game was where you got your big traveling done, and it was a cool, unusual location. Now guys are opting out of the bowl games. It used to be there would be maybe a tournament or of some kind you'd go to. But now these games are so valuable. It's less of, let's go play the Maui Invitational, right? We'd rather have 2 of those games be in our home arena where we can make cash. So in order to make really cool memories for your team, I think you got to go do these. UNC football playing in Ireland to open their 2026 season is going to be really cool. Duke women's basketball playing in Paris. Those games are, quite frankly, just fun. Right? Games in Lambeau when you get the opportunity. Those games are different and they make memories, and I think there should be more of them. I like that teams from the Triangle have been going to play at Kansas or at Allen Fieldhouse or at Rupp Arena in Kentucky. Even if it's a road game, it's a cool arena, right? It's historic, and it's something that you're going to remember. It's different than your run-of-the-mill game. So shout out to Duke women's basketball playing in Paris. Next up, Bill Belichick. UNC flipped an Oklahoma commit. We're talking on the football field, obviously. The offensive lineman, let me make sure I get his name correct here. His name is Will Conroy, 3-star, 23rd ranked interior offensive lineman in the country. More importantly, though, he comes from IMG Academy, which is a powerhouse. It's like borderline. My brother used to work there, so I know a little bit about it. It's borderline like not even a school. It's like mostly a training facility where they also take class. IMG would rival and or beat most college facilities that I've seen, and they have an absolutely stacked football and basketball team every year. They're also unbelievable for like prodigy golfers and all of that. So it's a good pipeline to start building up. It's starting to look like maybe we should just judge Bill Belichick on a same timeline as most new coaches. Right, because he's in his 70s and he's Bill Belichick, I think most of us thought he was going to hit the ground and go 1,000,000 miles an hour as soon as he got the job in UNC. But instead, it's been a slow build. Now they're universally pretty much top 20 in all 2026 recruiting class rankings nationally, starting to reel in. I saw that their a quarterback commit they have did really well at the Elite 11 last night, which is the premier high school football quarterback evaluation camp. They're flipping Oklahoma recruits. It's starting to gain steam, but it's kind of on the same trajectory you would expect most coaches. Right, take over a program that's a little low on momentum. First year might be a transition year. Next year you get rolling, and then finally maybe the year after that you're competing for conference and national championships. Maybe that's not what everybody wants, but maybe that's the fair way to judge them. And then lastly, Dean's List. This one's just going to be quick. There's a whole article on ESPN.com about it, but I'm going Cedric Coward, Walter Clayton Jr., and Danny Wolf. These are all unranked high school recruits that are projected to be drafted in the top, or in the first round, I should say, in the first round of the NBA draft next Wednesday. Walter Clayton Jr. from Florida started his career at, I believe, St. John's or Iona, maybe is where he started it. Unranked guy. It's one of those Patino schools. I think it was Iona. He just got an invite to attend the draft. So that's pretty good indication he'll be a first-round pick. Cedric Coward started in Division III before transferring up again to Washington State, eventually committing to Duke as a transfer before deciding to just jump that step entirely and go into the NBA draft, projected to be a first-round pick. Danny Wolf started in the Ivy League at Yale, ended at Michigan. But that's motivation, right? All these unranked high school recruits ending up in the first round of the NBA draft projections. Kind of cool. Max, do you have one you want to quickly throw in here in the Dean's List?
Yeah, I mean, I'll go pretty chalk here. I'll give it to Jared Jones of LSU baseball with the walk-off hit last night to send them to the final series. They'll play Coastal Carolina starting on Saturday.
And we'll talk about this a little bit later on. The last 2 innings of that game,
it's crazy.
Little League vibes. Like Little League vibes. You put a ball in play off the bat, there's a good chance you're going to reach base somehow, some way. Need the Globetrotter music playing. Wild finish. That's all I got to say. We'll talk about it later on. The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. Football at 4 is coming up next. The Lakers sale, $10 billion, by the way. I can't get over that. It opened my eyes to something about the Carolina Panthers and David Tepper as an owner and so much more. Stick around. It's coming up next.
Hello, I'm John Heister for the Heister Automotive Group. And we're constantly looking for ways to serve you better. One of the ways we do that is with something we call a Go-See. And that's where you select a vehicle from our inventory, and we have thousands, and we get one of our product specialists to bring that vehicle to you at your convenience. How do we do that? Well, it's simple. We have a group of employees that are evaluated based on the number of presentations they do. They're glad to do it. So it's just one more way we get off our keister and bring Heister to you.
Progressive knows when you're on your boat, you're already on vacation. And Vacation You forgets all your worries. Vacation You doesn't even keep track of time and knows that time is a meaningless construct designed to control us, man. But Regular You knows you don't want to be too far out in the water after the sun goes down because Vacation You doesn't know how to navigate in the dark yet. Vacation You and Regular You really need to get on the same page. So bundle your boat with your home or auto policy and earn an automatic discount from Progressive. And spend the savings on the both of you. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company affiliates and other insurers. Not available in all states or situations.
It's bow time. Yep, it's eating time again. Now you could unload groceries, chop, dice, mince, preheat, heat, slap around the smoke detector, and then celebrate with a big old pile of dishes. But if you're tired of cooking, or tired of sorta cooking, it's time to feed the whole family with Bojangles Fried Chicken Family Meal. With Bojangles' famous chicken, fixins, biscuits, and tea, you can forget the cookbook and spend some well-earned quality time with a delicious dinner from Bojangles. It's bow time.
There's no time like bow time. Time to stop whatever you're doing for some of that bodacious Bojangles flavor. Satisfy your craving for flavor and your passion for boneless chicken with Bojangles 4-piece Supremes Dinner. 4 perfectly seasoned Cajun fried whole breast tenderloin fillets. Choice of fixin', a made-from-scratch buttermilk biscuit, and Bojangles legendary iced tea. When you're hungry for flavor and value, it's bow time.
Tired of hearing scary radio ads about the IRS? Tax Relief Advocates is different. TRA is here to tell you that if you owe money to the IRS, whether it's $5,000 or $500,000, we have a solution. TRA can eliminate or reduce what you owe to the IRS with zero risk to you. We have over 1,000 5-star reviews on Google and an A+ with a BBB. End your tax nightmare today by visiting TRA.com or call 800-583-6681. That's 800-583-6681.
The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. Feels like we're about to introduce starting lineups.
I was going to say the people on YouTube are probably so confused because the music doesn't play on YouTube, so they just see you air drumming.
That's fine. They can get down. It's like those the parties. I've never been to one, but I've I don't know, seen them online somehow. The ones where everybody gets headphones and you can pick different music, but it's all the same beats per minute. So everybody is dancing.
Oh, like the silent disco.
Yes, that's what it's called, silent disco. So you could be dancing to a completely different song, but everybody's kind of dancing together because it's all the same beat. That's not exactly the same, but it felt, I don't know, privy to the conversation we were having. The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. That is a good moment to promote our YouTube, though. You can go check out our YouTube live stream. Every single show we do is live streamed to our YouTube. Nearly 100%, occasionally for a bunch of different reasons. It might not make it there, but you can pretty much bank on our shows being on YouTube. The only thing you'll miss out on is the copyrighted music. We can't put that on online, but we can send it over the airwaves. So if you're listening on the radio, you heard it. But then you miss out on the visuals. So there's pros and cons to both.
It's a trade-off. It
is a trade-off. So if you are out of our listening area, you can always grab on the live stream, 99.9 The Fan. Search for it. Subscribe when you're there. You can go back into our archives. Obviously not now, but when the show is not on the air, you can go back and check out other conversations we've had and tell your friends about it. I did jump the gun a little bit before the break. I scrolled too far down my page and previewed the football at 4. So that'll be at 4 o'clock, obviously, because right now I'm going to go second time today. I'm going to sound like an old man. I don't know when it happened. I used to be young and hip. Not anymore. So there's a report out there from Mike Lacett, who's a sports anchor for Carolina Sports Live. He spoke with a source who told him at least one NBA draft lottery pick refused to work out for the Charlotte Hornets out of a desire not to play with LaMelo Ball. The Hornets have the 4th pick in the draft. And a prospect said, "Thank you for the invite. I will not be working out with you because I don't want to play with your best player or second best player, depending on how you feel about like a Brandon Miller." And this is where I get to sound old. Lottery picks aren't what they used to be. Top prospects aren't what they used to be. And I hate thinking that because I do not believe sports ever really get worse. All right? You can go back and look at the Olympic times over the last century, right? But humans are unbelievably good at getting better at things. Better training, better nutrition, better evolution. I don't know. We are traditionally better. So when guys from the 90s are like, "Oh, LeBron couldn't play in my era," I'm like, yes, he could. He absolutely could. And so could 95% of the people that play today. They're bigger, taller, faster, stronger, and their shooting ability would make you think that they were a wizard, not a Washington Wizard, a literal wizard in 1992. So that's usually my belief. But then I hear a story like this, and I go, you know what? Physically, they might be better. They've been trained, in high-level basketball thought and reading the pick and roll from a younger age. They're better at it, but they might be softer. The person in the NBA that carries all of the sway, that has all of the power, is the one that plays the best. Play better than LaMelo, and you can demand he get traded. And that's what whether it's right or wrong, that's what the prospects used to think. They were never worried. It was very much, let me think of it, the proper phrasing, right? It was never, "Oh, I'm worried about how I'm going to play with them." And it was always about, they better be worried about how they're going to play with me. Ego is good in sports, especially from lottery picks. Lottery picks, I feel like we throw that around and don't address. Lottery picks means you're one of the 14 best players in the world in your age bracket. And if you are somebody that is turning pro immediately when your eligibility is ready, like after 1 year in college or the first year you are eligible overseas, then you are probably even better than the 14 best players in your age bracket, because there's a couple that have taken extra years to marinate and are now entering the NBA draft pool. You are one of the 14 best players in the world at one of the most international sports. And you're worried about playing with someone else? Never would have happened years ago.
Someone else who also is like probably one of the better playmakers.
That's the other
thing. In
thing.
the East, in the league.
That's the other thing. I could see you not liking LaMelo's reputation. Going back to when he was kind of the young, annoying brother on the Ball brothers, Ball families reality television online show, whatever that was. I could see you just not wanting to be a part of that. But teammates don't have to like each other. And he's basically an 8 assists per game guy. He might shoot a not great percentage, but he also attracts so much attention from the defense. I imagine he makes your job easier. What do you want? And by the way, again, I don't know if it matters in the long run, but guys would care about where they were drafted. I want to be picked first. I want to be picked top 5, top 3, top 4, whatever. Passing on the opportunity to be drafted 4th means you might fall to 8th, because there's no guarantee that number 5 has the same board, and on and on and on and on. It's, quite frankly, it's soft. And I don't know which prospect it is, and I don't know why you would not want to go play with LaMelo, because the other option would be maybe it has nothing to do with the LaMelo's reputation or his perceived whatever, right? He drives a different like Skittles-colored car every day. Maybe it has nothing to do with that. Maybe it's another point guard. And they're just saying, no, I don't want to go somewhere where somebody else is going to have the ball. I want the ball in my hands. That's the competitive stuff that would frustrate me even more. Because coaches put the ball in the hands of the people that are best with the ball. So go get it. Go get it. Trust me, if you have the ball in your hands and you make a great decision and it ends in a bucket, They're not going to give you the ball less. They're not going to give you the ball less. And maybe it's listening to agents more, because I do think agents have a requirement, a responsibility to get in the way of the ridiculously competitive decision-making from certain players. I remember thinking this when Richard Sherman at some point, and I don't know why I remember this, Richard Sherman at some point, the corner for the Seahawks, maybe when he was negotiating his deal with the Niners. Did he play for the Niners? But he negotiated by himself. He didn't have an agent. And the thing was ridiculously loaded with incentives, which I believe he actually hit a bunch of. But I remember thinking, oh, that's why you need an agent, because athletes are so competitive that they'll put, yeah, you know what? Take 60% of my salary only if I go to the Pro Bowl, because of course I'm going to the Pro Bowl. Because I can't imagine a world where I don't go to the Pro Bowl. At some point, they need an agent there going like, well, yeah, what if you get hurt? Or what if there's a bad stretch of you try to play hurt and you give up some touchdowns. Now you don't make the let's protect ourselves a little bit. So perhaps this is an agent that turned it down, saying it's not smart, it's not good for your career. But I would hope you would overrule it in that situation. I've always believed, and the draft, there are some that believe the draft is like constitutionally not cool, just at its foundation. You don't have any say over where you get to go in your career. No other industries, careers, do you not have any say over where you go. I always say, yeah, there's a lot of stuff you don't have in other industries that you have in professional sports. I've always been of the belief you work your butt off to make yourself the best prospect you can. You go show how great you are to everybody that asks. You get drafted where you get drafted, and you go for handsome compensation, right? Because by passing on, I don't want to go to number 4, it could be millions of dollars you're giving up there. For handsome compensation, you go and you show them why the things you want are the things they should provide you with. But I don't want to play with him. What are we doing?
To follow up, as Mike Lay said, he did follow up on this from Carolina Sports Live, who gave the original report. He said to follow up, since there have been questions, this wasn't a position issue or thing. This was a that guy holds the ball a lot thing.
Again, like I said, I've never met a basketball coach who is not okay with somebody that does really good things with the basketball getting it more. So if you want the ball in your hands more than LaMelo, get the basketball, do something good with it. All right, let's go back to him. Get the ball, do something good with it. It's the same thing I used to tell wide receivers, right? Because every wide receiver is open on every play. Every wide receiver can beat their guy every time, right? This guy on me stinks, throw me the ball. I used to look at him and go, all right, we've got our number 1 wide receiver. We all know who he is. When I throw it to him, he catches it most of the time. And even when it's a bad pass, he bails me out a lot. So I'm going to keep throwing it to him. If you do that when I throw it to you, then I'm more likely to throw it to you. And by the way, the defense decides where I throw it in the first place with my reads, but it's on the 50-50 decisions. If you want me to give you the benefit of the doubt, catch them. Every time you do, I'm going to be more inclined to do it next time. That's where the competitiveness comes in. LaMelo has the ball so much. If you're better with it, you'll have the ball more.
Yeah, you'll get the ball away from him.
That's how it works. This is the NBA. This is not Little League. Everybody does not have to play 2 innings in the field and get at least 1 at-bat. That's not how it works. Not at all.
And while we're talking about the Hornets, Mike did also give a little report here earlier this morning. He said his understanding is Hornets management wants VJ Edgecombe to help transform their defense, but they understand there's a very strong chance he'll be off the board. Should that happen, the gossip that he's hearing is that they want to trade down, with the best case being one of either Jokic Jonas, Con Knipple, or Trey Johnson remaining at that pick they'd trade down to. So looks like they're targeting VJ Edgecombe with that 4th pick, but they think there's a good chance he might not be there.
VJ Edgecombe would actually be a pretty good fit there. I think he could do a lot without. And by the way, he didn't have the ball in his hand a lot at Baylor. Robert Wright, who ironically was Cooper Flagg's high school teammate, had the ball a lot, and VJ Edgecombe was catching oops and knocking down threes. So it would fit. But he might not be there. He might go number 3 overall. The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. Now when we come back, we have football at 4, and I can tell you what the Lakers sale for $10 billion illuminated for me about the Carolina Panthers and their owner, David Tepper. Don't go anywhere.
Hey, it's Victoria with 99.9 The Fan with a Men's Health Month tip from WakeMed Heart and Vascular. Each year, smoking causes more than 480,000 deaths in the United States. That's nearly 1 in 5 deaths. Those aren't odds you want to play with. Don't put off kicking the habit. In just 1 year after quitting, a person's risk for coronary heart disease decreases by half. Learn more about how you can quit and get started today, plus other ways to care for your heart at WakeMed.org.
Want to score points with your boss? Recruit RoofWorks to your building maintenance team to handle your commercial roofing needs. Hi, this is Holly with RoofWorks. We've helped hundreds of Triangle businesses with their commercial roof maintenance, repairs, and if necessary, total replacements. Our pros come to your site, assess your roofing needs, and then give you a range of options to fit your budget. And we'd love to work with you. For roof maintenance and repair, contact us today at roofworks.com. That's roof, WERKS.com.
As down payments get bigger, millions of renters across America feel like they'll never be able to buy a home. So instead of lowering expectations, Rocket Mortgage is lowering down payments to 1% for eligible home buyers with One Plus, helping more renters become owners. Call 800-4ROCKET or visit rocket.com to get a head start on your starter home.
Rocket Mortgage, LLC, licensed in all 50 states. NMLSconsumeraccess.org, number 3030.
A pepperoni pizza for the table. May I suggest trying it with our Pepsi Zero Sugar? It has just the right amount of sweetness to complement all that cheesy, saucy goodness. Simply divine.
Pepsi Zero Sugar? You've really outdone yourself this time. Pizza deserves Pepsi.
Handy Hugo's has a refreshing deal. 2 1-liter Pepsis for just $3. Quench your thirst at Handy Hugo's today.
I'm attorney Brian Ritchie. Getting hurt in a car wreck comes with all kinds of stress and frustration. But when you call me, I'll be on top of all of it. So all you need to worry about is getting better. If you've been injured in a car wreck, I'm on top of it. Contact us at ritchielaw.com.
Broadcasting live from the Lenovo Studios. WCMC HD1 Holly Springs. 99.9 The Fan. The Triangle Sports Leader.
I'm WRAL meteorologist Elizabeth Gardner. 2 things that we're watching for this afternoon. One, the intense heat. We'll see a high of 95, and of course it'll feel more like 103 to 104 with the heat index. Looking at evening thunderstorms, we have a WRAL weather alert day that's in effect for the potential for damaging winds and heavy rain. Storms will end around midnight, 71, and a little cooler and not as humid tomorrow with a high at 91.
Weather report brought to you by Newcomb & Company, where your comfort is their business. Visit newcombandcompany.com. 4 o'clock check of your money. Dow Jones still down 44 points, 42,171.
Let's move the chains. Time for football at 4.
The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. This could be a, you know what? Let's fire the breaking news sounder. It's on the light side, but it's breaking news. The passing back and forth of people that wear jerseys for the ACC schools in the state has continued. Kendall Rogers has it here for D1 baseball, but looks like Aram Layton of Just BB Media had it first. So to give all their credit to the breaking news journalist. Duke baseball will be hiring Wake Forest pitching coach Corey Muscara as its next head coach. Sources tell Kendall Rogers and a few others. That was, first of all, congratulations to Corey, head coach, big deal. There's a few interesting things here in the first reporting I've read. One of them, Muscara was a finalist for the job along with Murray State's Dan Skirka. Murray State's Dan Skirka, one of my favorite characters of the college baseball NCAA tournament, because he definitely is going to get another job. For Murray State, he was making $68K as a head coach, and he finished as one of the 8 teams remaining. Everybody else in the 8 teams remaining, every other head coach was making at least $400K, some as high as about $1.8 million. Wake Forest pitching coach makes sense as somebody that would be interviewing for other head coaching opportunities. Wake Forest, not as unbelievable this year as they have been in the past, but they're on a little streak of producing a lot of really, really good players. I'm looking at some of them here. I saw, what was it, Nick Kurtz with the Athletics is playing in the bigs now. He was drafted in 2024 with the 4th overall pick.
He's been hitting bombs for the A's.
And he even got hurt and came back and was immediately hitting bombs again. The Reds drafted Chase Burns, who was a pitcher. So obviously Muscara had a hand in that. 2nd overall. They had a 3rd-round pitcher, Josh Hartle, in 2024. They had a 4th-round pitcher in 2024 in Michael Massey. Going back the year before, Rhett Loader, who was a 1st-round pick, 7th overall pitcher. Again, obviously, the pitching coach would have something to do with that. A 2nd-rounder in Sean Sullivan, a 3rd-rounder in Seth Keener, a 3rd-rounder in Teddy McGraw. These are all pitchers drafted out of Wake Forest in the last, 3 seasons, 2 seasons, 2 drafts, because this one hasn't quite taken place yet. All from Wake Forest, obviously under the tutelage, at least in part, by Wake Forest's pitching coach in Corey Muscara. I'll get the pronunciation at some point. But he has now taken over Duke. That's I think, solid for Duke. I think it's good news for Wake Forest, too, because you're going to keep attracting very, very high-level assistant coaches if you can show that your coaches are being developed and turned into things that they want to be turned into for the next step in their career. Now it's all about going and finding, the players that haven't hit the portal yet, try to re-recruit them to stay for Duke, and the players that have hit the portal, call them and see if they can come back, because Duke had a really good team this year. A lot of them followed their former coach, Scott Pollard, to UVA, but they don't. The rest, obviously, are still up for grabs. And then maybe you turn around and grab a few from Wake Forest. It's probably even a little bit more poor form to do it when you're an assistant coach and leaving, to turn around and grab some guys. But if head coaches do it, I think assistants should do it. If you could bring a couple legit pitchers with you, that would help Duke a lot as well. So there's a hint of breaking news. Now let's get into football at 4, which obviously is going to be 3 or 4 minutes late. So football at 4:05, we'll call it, just for today here on The Drive with Tim Donnelly on 99.9 The Fan. I said this earlier, but the Lakers sale, for those of you that didn't hear, yesterday the news broke, Shams Charania had it first, that the Lakers, the Los Angeles Lakers, were being sold by the Buss family, the children of Jerry Buss, at a $10 billion evaluation. $10 billion. And it wasn't sitting with me right. Something about it just made me feel like, I don't think it was illegal. I don't think it was immoral. It just didn't feel like the appropriate thing to have happen. So much so that I went and did some digging, and I learned some of the financials. The new owner, Mark Walter, had already owned 26%, so he was already a minority owner. The Buss family owned 66%. They are selling what appears to be all 66 of that. There were some reports that they were going to hold back 15. Maybe they'll do that. But with 6 children of Jerry Buss, that would mean they would each get 11% of the sales, which would put them each over like 1.2 billion, which would pretty much independently make, I know a ton of taxes would come out of it and stuff, but based on how much they've been cashing out of the Lakers, the report I read from somebody, I don't know, some financial online person, would basically say that it would turn each of Jerry Buss's children into an independent billionaire. They would have just liquid $1 billion. That's pretty cool. Okay, so even that, I read it and I went, I could see why it's more difficult to manage a team when there's 6 people that all think they should have input and all of these other things. I know Jeannie Buss was the quote-unquote governor, but they all owned part of it, and maybe for the health of their family. But I still went, no, I don't like it. I don't like it. So I went and I Searched some more, and I heard things like this from Sham Sharania, who broke the news on why the Buss family is selling now.
10 billion reasons why. And like I said, Jeannie Buss and the Buss family seemed like they were poised to keep this team forever. And there are two executives there, actually, that are Buss family members. It's the Buss brothers, Joey and Jesse Buss, that are known in NBA circles as really rising executives in that front office, even as part of ownership. So for the family to now sell for $10 billion, it's an astronomical figure. It's something that, of course, is now going to set an immensely high bar. You think about it, they're the largest sold franchise in sports history in the world. And that includes soccer teams, football, or should I say football teams abroad. That includes NBA teams, MLB teams, anything in the world, $10 billion. 10 billion reasons why.
Okay. But I think even that's an issue. Here's my entire thing, what it boils down to. I don't like thinking of sports teams as investments. I don't like thinking of sports teams as another part of your portfolio. And I think during the heydays, when the popularity was building for all of this, it wasn't that. It was either something that your family had built. Your great-great-grandfather got together with, 10 other dudes in a bar and decided they were going to start a league because they all had a little bit of scratch in their pocket, and they all put in $5,000, and a century later, their grandson was worth billions because of it, but it was still the thing that you got from your grandpa. The Busses, they didn't own it because it looked good in their portfolio. Matter of fact, they probably owned it and at times felt frustrated because they're like, we're billionaires, but we aren't liquid billionaires, so we have to live like 100 millionaires. Which sounds ridiculous, but it's that. Or I even like, and this is where it probably gets a little gray area. I like Steve Ballmer as an owner of the Clippers, not because he's not just as rich as this Mark Walter, not because he didn't, I don't know, everything else I've been complaining about, but you can tell he just loves the Clippers. You can, he's cheering. He lives and dies with them. When they win, he's in a good mood. When they lose, he's in a bad mood. I don't like that the leagues pretty much have to allow venture capital or hedge fund money to help teams, help owners basically survive because it's such a gigantic number to own a team. I don't like that. And the hard part is, this is probably overwhelmingly a good thing for the Lakers. They will likely win more because this new ownership takes over rather than the Busses. And Brian Windhorst, ESPN insider, pretty much explains that right here on why the new ownership could allow them more resources.
The Lakers operate with a small infrastructure. They do not operate like a lot of other teams. And I would only suspect that the modernization of the Lakers is about to come. And if I were another team, I would not think this is a great development. I think the Lakers are only going to get more dangerous as an organization with the more resources that are, theoretically here about to be poured into it.
That's the other thing that happens with the family-owned teams is when you didn't make way more money than your team is worth in some other business, you are actually treated as cash poor as an owner, which means luxury taxes hit you harder. You can't afford to go build a stadium and then have that be a gigantic part of the money-making within your ownership group. Mark Cuban has talked a lot about how the team isn't even how owners make their money anymore. What the way that owners are looking to make their money is they go buy a boatload of real estate, then build a stadium with the team right in the middle of it, and suddenly all that real estate around it goes way up in value, and you can put high-rises and entertainment complexes and everything else there because the team is drawing everybody to that part of town, and now you're a billionaire. And if you don't have the money to make all that happen because you didn't make all your money in hedge funds or in some other business, you didn't invent the next greatest social media app, you you get bullied. You get big chip stacks by everybody else at the table in the NBA or in the NFL or in Major League Baseball. And as I said earlier, I think this comes back to what I have frustrations with David Tepper of the Carolina Panthers. Football at 4 is where it goes football. I wrote down some bullet points about the life of David Tepper. Born and raised in Pittsburgh, went to the University of Pittsburgh, went to grad school at Carnegie Mellon in Pittsburgh. He has worked professionally, according to his Wikipedia, never lies, Ohio, Boston, New York City. He based his hedge fund in Miami. He lives in New Jersey, where he's been ranked as the richest man in New Jersey multiple times. For a decade, he was a partial owner of the Pittsburgh Steelers, yet he owns the Carolina Panthers. Since buying the Panthers in 2018, they have compiled a record of 36-80. And they've had 7 head coaches in that span. Now, here's the weird part. That's an awful span for an owner. But I would be more sympathetic if I believed that David Tepper, at any point in his life before he owned the Panthers, would be really bummed out that the Panthers went 36-80. But I don't. Matter of fact, I'm not even 100% sure he's not just excited that ownership values have gone up. And you hear this in baseball all the time because they don't have a salary cap and small market teams just don't spend. And you hear like, why would the Pittsburgh Pirates owner care that they stink and they're going to lose Skeens and they're going to lose O'Neal Cruz? All he does is keep cashing checks and revenue share. That's what you don't like about it. I'm not asking you to operate at a loss. I'm not asking you to cook the books in a way that you don't make any money. I'm asking that the ownership, family, group, whatever, become part of the community. Live here. And if you don't want to, cool, just don't buy the hometown team, right? Mark Walter, that just bought the Lakers, also owns the Dodgers, also owns the Sparks, also owns a Formula One team, also owns, I believe, the entire Professional Women's Hockey League, also owns 12.8% of a holding company that owns Chelsea, the European soccer club, and RC Strasbourg, another European soccer club. I don't know if the Lakers stink. He's still got 6 other chances to win a championship this year, right? To go up on stage, hold the trophy, and give a speech. I don't like it. I understand that, if I don't want to do something about it, I guess I'd have to go make a couple $10 billion and then go spend it on a team and be super invested. And yeah, you know what? Tell me how. Tell me how, and I will. You don't have to agree with everything the Buss family did. Matter of fact, if you go watch Winning Time on HBO, the 2-season dramatic retelling basically of how Buss became Buss, Jerry Buss that is, you might think he's not a great dude, or you might think that he doesn't deserve all the praise that he's being given. That's fine, but you can't tell me he didn't care if the Lakers won. You can't tell me that. He absolutely did. And I think his family did too, if only for, Dad would have liked us to win. I don't know if Mark Walter will. I know he believes in the money-making power of sports, and he likes having a portfolio that is filled with teams. The way he's handled the Dodgers is business-wise genius, right? All the deferred money and right, Shohei's not getting paid more than $2 million a year, but then suddenly 10 years in the future it's going to be $30 million a year until he's 60. I don't even know the structure of it, right? He's a good business guy. I just don't know if he loves sports the way the fans do. And unless the owner is as crushed as the fans, we're never going to give you any sympathy. Right? The offseason Hard Knocks for the Giants, where the GM is talking about not re-signing Saquon, and the owner says, if he goes somewhere in the division, if he goes to Philly, I'm not going to sleep well. Fans were like, yeah, Mara's one of us. And then, of course, he went to Philly, and Mara's not sleeping well, and everyone piled on the GM. I just don't know if – I think Walter's sleeping good. And I don't think Jerry Buss did after losses by the Lakers. That's my point. I don't think Tepper loses a ton of sleep when Bryce Young throws an interception. And because of that, I really don't like that he's had 7 head coaches since he took over.
Yeah.
He's not impatient. He's not a good owner.
You'd hope at least he's losing a little more sleep than a guy who owns like 6 teams.
Maybe. But also, if he's like, it's easier to track the bottom line of one team. And Tepper's net worth is in the 20 or 30 billion. He paid $2 billion for the it's like a car for most of us, right? If my car's in the shop, like, I'm bummed. But I'm not letting it ruin my year. The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. I'm not saying the previous owner was any better. I'm just saying I want somebody that cares. Obviously cares might be the better way to say it. We have the ladder challenge coming up next. Max and I square off once again. Don't go anywhere.
Hey, folks, Dennis Cox here for my friends over at Loan Pronto. Folks, you might be maxed out on your credit cards. Maybe you're struggling with high-interest debt. You can pay it all off in days with Loan Pronto's Rapid Equity Loan. Get cash out now without touching your low-rate first mortgage. No appraisals, no waiting, no BS. The Rapid Equity Loan program at Loan Pronto is amazing. Instant approvals, low rates, no hard credit pull up front. Listen, your home equity is yours. Use it. Get cash to consolidate your debt down to one easy low monthly payment. Call Loan Pronto now for a free instant appraisal for your home and see how much cash you can get today. Loan Pronto is A+ rated by the BBB and have nearly 2,500 5-star Google reviews. Their service is off the charts. Call now to start the conversation. 919-381-1760. LoanPronto.com. 919-381-1760. Get debt relief now. LoanPronto.com. Equal housing lender, NMLS 1661781 on approved credit, NMLSconsumeraccess.org.
The Adam Gold Show.
Minicamp is great. I love the optimism around the wide receiver position. It all comes back to Bryce Young, though, doesn't it? Look, he was so good at the end of the year last year, but I just don't know what level of importance, what value to place on games in which it did not matter whether or not Carolina won or lost. Not that there wasn't value, I'm just skeptical about it.
The Adam Gold Show, weekdays starting at noon on 99.9 The Fan.
Breaking news, and this one is almost unbelievable.
Yeah, it's all about new customers at Bet365 because they get $150 in bonus bets when they bet $5, win or lose. And even better, bonus bets can be used on the spread, totals, and player props.
There you have it. Bet $5 to get $150 in bonus bets, win or lose. And see why. It's never ordinary at Bet365. 21 plus only. Must be physically located in North Carolina. Gambling problem? Call 1-877-718-5543 or visit morethanagame.nc.gov. T&Cs apply. Available in app only.
When you're hiring, have you ever felt like you're missing out on meeting truly great candidates for your roles? It seems impossible to find them, but they have to be out there somewhere, right? Well, they're not hard to find when you know where to go, and that place is Ziprecruiter. And right now, you can try Ziprecruiter for free at ziprecruiter.com/free. Ziprecruiter helps 10 million people with their job search every day. And because these people are actively looking for jobs just like yours, it's easy to find the right person right away. In fact, 4 out of 5 employers who post on Ziprecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. But if you're not using Ziprecruiter, you're missing out. So see what it's like when the impossible is easy. When you go to ziprecruiter.com/free right now to try Ziprecruiter for free. Once again, that's ziprecruiter.com/free. ziprecruiter.com/free. Never miss out on great candidates with Ziprecruiter.
It's bow time. Yep, it's eating time again. Now you could unload groceries, chop, dice, mince, preheat, heat, slap around the smoke detector, and then celebrate with a big old pile of dishes. But if you're tired of cooking, or tired of sorta cooking, it's time to feed the whole family with Bojangles Fried Chicken Family Meal. With Bojangles' famous chicken, fixins, biscuits, and tea, you can forget the cookbook and spend some well-earned quality time with a delicious dinner from Bojangles. It's bow time.
There's no time like bow time. Time to stop whatever you're doing for some of that bodacious Bojangles flavor. Satisfy your craving for flavor and your passion for boneless chicken with Bojangles 4-piece Supremes dinner. 4 perfectly seasoned Cajun fried whole breast tenderloin fillets. Choice of fixin', a made-from-scratch buttermilk biscuit, and Bojangles legendary iced tea. When you're hungry for flavor and value, it's bow time.
The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. All right, Max, I'm up. I'm actually down, but I finished with $19.09 yesterday in the ladder challenge. What'd you finish with?
I finished with $0.
All right, winner chicken dinner over here. Thank you to the LSU baseball team for finding a way to squeak out the money line.
That
over
walk-off
Arkansas.
got you because the Red Sox-Mariners game was on during our show. Red Sox pulled that out.
3-1.
So, and then Tina Charles, I believe, had 6 combined points and rebounds, so did not hit your over.
Play. I don't know if you noticed. She played like 4 minutes.
Yeah, not much. And then my picks, not much better. Otani and Alonso did not go yard, and then the Mercury did not cover the 14.5. I believe they won by 8 or 12, but not enough.
What I am learning in the most logical fashion, this is like bonk you on the head, duh. You should probably stick to gambling on sports that you know something about, because we actually did fairly well, very well, on my ladder challenge picks over the year when it comes to gambling, right? Where the best gamblers in the world are, 56, 57%. Correct if they can maneuver the odds in the way that they want. I made money in most months. However, once football and basketball and then even hockey finished up, I've been on a rough streak. But I did do enough to beat Max yesterday, so I get to lead us off today. We don't know when Dennis is coming back, so we're just going to keep doing these one-day competitions until he does. It is $10. 3 bets. Whoever has the most for tomorrow, most remaining, is the winner. I'll start. I'm going to the NBA game tonight, Game 6, NBA Finals. I was able to lock in earlier today, OKC, and the line was set at -5.5. I teased it up to -7.5. I think they win a little bit more aggressively. I wanted a little bit more plus money. I think -5.5 was maybe -120. -7.5, I teased it down to +116. I'll give the extra bucket, the extra couple free throws. In that case, once it happens, once OKC wins by 8 or more to clinch the trophy and the championship and everything else, my $10 will turn into $21.60.
Well, we were kind of on the same page there, except I did not move the line. I just took the Thunder at the time. It was -6, -106. So if they win by 6 I guess that's a push if they win by 6. So if they win by 7, then I win and you lose. Otherwise, if they cover, you'll have a bit of an advantage there.
Very tiny ring that you can make up some ground on me. Next up, I have in that same game, Andrew Nembhard, 2 or more threes versus OKC. This is +155. This is one of those, it might be a great bet or it might be an okay bet. If Halliburton doesn't play or doesn't play much, I love this bet. If Halliburton does play, I still like it because I do think they're going to need their shooters out there. And I like Nembhard. I think Nembhard is underrated because he's almost too normal, right? He's the other ball handler on the Pacers when Halliburton is everything he is, personality, smooth, and then TJ McConnell is everything he is, energy. And then there's Nembhard, who's this kind of other guy who just plays more normal. But I think he's a good player, and I think he can shoot, and I think he can pick up some of the scoring if Halliburton and some of the ball handling, playmaking, if Halliburton isn't himself. So I love it if Halliburton doesn't play or doesn't play much. I still like it if he does play. It'll turn $10 into $25.50 because, like I said, it's +155.
All right, I'm going to go away from not away from basketball, but over to the WNBA. So Indiana Fever back in action tonight. Obviously, I got to go with the Caitlin Clark props. I'm going to go with over 35.5 point rebounds and assists. That is -118. I mean, it seems pretty achievable. I think I saw in June she's averaging something like 26 or 28 points alone. Yep. So then she just needs 4 or 5 each of the rebounds and assists. And I think she also had, the most assists ever by a rookie last year. So I'm not too worried about her getting up to that number. That is -118.
I don't know if we just think alike or if there's really not that much to bet on. I also have a Caitlin Clark prop as my third bet. Caitlin Clark, 5 or more threes versus the Golden State Valkyries. The number was set at 4. I'll give 1 extra. So I teased it up a little bit, get it +220, wanted a little bit bigger payout. Clark has a dramatic sense for the moment. I think when the drama gets loud, she very much wants to play well. I imagine a lot of threes will be shot, and I imagine when they go in, there will be a lot of head nodding from Caitlin Clark as she jogs back on defense, and I imagine that'll happen at least 5 times. So I am on 5 or more threes for Caitlin Clark versus Golden State. Plus 220 are the odds, which would turn my $10 into 32.
I'm not loving how all 3 of your picks have better odds than mine, better payouts, but I guess that means maybe I'm more likely to win, although nothing I pick seems likely to win. So my last pick here, I'm going to go over to the U.S. men's national team. Gold Cup action tonight, group stage. They're taking on Saudi Arabia. I'm going to go with Charlotte FC's Patrick Agyemang to score a goal tonight, and that's plus 120.
There you go. Charlotte FC. I have no. I was trying to think of something I could build off on that. If you want soccer, this is what I can say. If you want soccer talk, find Adam Gold, 99.9 The Fan, A Gold Fan on Twitter. That's where you can find your soccer talk.
Of course.
He's all about that life.
I'll talk Charlotte FC anytime. But there's actually a fun stat came out the other day. They have 3 of the top 15 player jersey sales so far this year.
All right, we'll go with that. You're a big soccer fan? I didn't know that about you, Max.
I mean, I wouldn't necessarily say big. I like Charlotte FC. I like Man City. It's kind of like since COVID, I've just kind of gained an appreciation for watching like every sport. And me and my buddy would always play FIFA all the time.
Okay.
That was when we were in school. That was probably 4 or 5 years ago. So
FIFA is the best thing that has happened to soccer in the United States. Like, the only reason I understand the rules to soccer is because a bunch of my buddies played FIFA in college, and if they're playing, you just jump on the sticks every now and then and play. It's the only reason I even get the strategy or know any of the players. So builds popularity.
This is how you know we were studying super hard for our sport management classes. We would play, I think the longest halves you could do was 20-minute halves, and then we would play the home and away 2-leg aggregate. So that's basically an 80-minute game we would play just back-to-back just because, we didn't really have that much homework to do.
I don't know if I've told this story on air. This is one, and I do my best to not touch politics on this show, and this will just be on the fringes of politics. But I won't give any opinion or anything. Don't worry about that. So for the 2012 election, I was in college, and I was the host of a show, like a Sports Center type show that was put on by students. So you sit at the desk, and there's another guy at the other desk. Sometimes you do interviews. It's highlights of whatever. It was student run, all college. It's what the communications kids did in their spare times. The journalism majors, right? We were working hard. So because of that, when it came to election coverage, there was the station that we put our show on was going to do 12 hours nonstop of election coverage. And we were going to have so many guests. We were going to have all this stuff. And there were really only 2 shows that had anchors, the sports show and the news show. So the news show their 2 anchors didn't want to do 12 straight hours. So they asked us if we would do, me and my buddy, who was one of my teammates, shout out to Mike. They asked us if we would do the first 6 hours. And we were like, yeah, all right, this will be fun. Keep in mind, 2012 might have been the peak for me knowing nothing about politics. I did not pay attention to it. I was football, a little bit of school. And so I was like, all right, this could be fun. And then, so we sign up. They're like, all right, you're in. And then we learned we have way, way, way more say into like the content than we thought we would. We thought we'd just be reading our teleprompters, tell a couple jokes, get out of there. Which, by the way, that election, it was Mitt Romney versus Barack Obama, was over super early, and we ended up announcing the victor before the 6-hour switch happened, and the news basically just had recap, the news anchors. But that's not the funny part of the story. The funny part of the story is we needed to come up with hours and hours of election coverage with no knowledge of the election or anything. So one of our ideas was we went to NBA 2K, right, the video game, the NBA video game, and we pre-recorded this. We did a whole thing where one buddy created Barack Obama and one buddy created Mitt Romney. the creative players, like you back in the day, like, anyone that's ever played a video game knows how, right? You pick the height, you pick the weight, you give them the hair, you give them the whole thing. And then in this version of 2K, may have been NBA Live, I forget, you could play one-on-one. So then we played them one-on-one, and I was the announcer, and we recorded this. And all of my announcing was 100% political puns. So it was, Mitt Romney tries to beat him to the right. Oh, but wait, he comes back center on a couple issues, just towards the middle. And it was all that kind of stuff for like 25 minutes of them playing 1-on-1 to 21 or whatever it ended up being. And it took forever, and the creative players were awful at basketball, so they just kept missing easy layups, and it would never end. And because we had to fill 6 hours, we played it twice. And it was the definition of, this is why you should not give sports anchors election coverage, because we had no idea what to do with it. But we sat around for probably a half hour, and just everybody kicked out all of the basketball terms that might apply to a political pun of some sort. He's standing on the edge. Call this one a filibuster, just dribbling out. He's going to get a 5-second call. It was all of that kind of stuff the entire time. And needless to say, there was like adult adult advisors. They did not like it very much. We did not get many kudos. The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. That's a quick story into the origins of me, and that's why we stay away from politics on this show. I told you there'd be no opinion in that. The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. Real quickly, there are certain times in sports, right, as we just make a hard transition, because there's no way out of Barack Obama and Mitt Romney playing one-on-one basketball naturally into the next conversation. Sports are awesome. That's where we'll go. I didn't have to pay attention to politics because sports are awesome, and they had plenty to take care of me there. And the beauty of sports is always in the stakes. Right? That's why keeping score is so essential. You need a winner and you need a loser. Without it, who cares? The beauty of sports are in the stakes, and you don't enjoy the good without the bad, right? If you never lost, you wouldn't feel so excited about winning. Or if you didn't have the threat of losing, you wouldn't feel so excited about winning. There have been what I consider some special levels of the agony going on recently. And I want to highlight them, not to like pile on, like, this guy suffers so much, but to point out that for every, Alexander Barkov taking the cup and knocking on his neighbor's doors and getting caught on the ring, and it's so joyous and they're so happy, there's a Corey Perry who has now been to 5 of the last 6 Stanley Cup finals and lost them all. He lost the Stanley Cup final as a member of the 2020 Dallas squad. In 2021, he lost it with Montreal. In 2022, he lost it with Tampa. Each of the last 2 years, he's lost it with Edmonton. That's brutal. Because it's enough to get your hopes up every single time. And you might not like Corey Perry. I know he has his detractors. It is what it is. But there is a special level of suffering to every year try to talk yourself into, no, this year is different. And every year go, nope. Same thing, still hurts. You almost wonder if he doesn't love 2023 because he finished the year in Chicago and never got his hopes up. That, for every hot run, for every Reinhart scoring $1 billion, for every Bennett scoring $1 billion, there's a Corey Perry. And that's part of why sports are so fun. If you didn't have Corey Perry, the good wouldn't feel. If everybody got a trophy, the good wouldn't feel as good. The next, we talked about this earlier, Charles Davillan, left fielder for Arkansas. You guys can't see it, but I just looked in the producer studio and got like the pursed mouth nod from Max, just like a
Very solemn.
He had the game-tying runs. They were trying to stave off elimination, right? Arkansas was trying to win the game so their season wouldn't be over. They're up 2. Final moments of the game. 2 runs. They can taste it. Line drive right at the left fielder. He gets a weird jump, misplays it, trips a little bit. The ball bounces directly off his head, like right over the glove, right off the dome, squirts into the foul ball territory. He chases it down. By the time the ball is back in the infield, the tying 2 runs had scored. The ball bounced off. It was Jose Canseco. The ball bounced off his noggin. In what, I don't know if Charles is a future MLB player. I don't know if he has a ton of eligibility left. I don't know if Arkansas is going to be any good next year. I don't follow college baseball like that. But I know there aren't many teams that get a bunch of opportunities to be one of the last 3 or 4 teams standing in an NCAA Division I sport, and Arkansas did. And he's going to see that in his sleep for the rest of his athletic career at least, and that is so brutal, and I feel for him. And Arkansas, it's not just him, by the way. Arkansas made a bunch of bad mistakes. The play before, the at-bat before, his teammate fields a ground ball at short, should have tried to turn 2, game would have been over. If they turned the double play, game over. Instead, with runners on first and second, he tried to get the lead runner at third, which he did, but that doesn't make any sense. You were up 2. Who cares if that guy scores? Get the next 2 and you're done. But little brain freeze, and it leads to the next deal. There was a bad throw by the second baseman to the pitcher covering first in the previous inning. That let runners score. There was a ball off the glove of the second baseman that gave up the winning run. Would have been a nice catch, but it still hit his glove. But in any one of those moments, there's always a game. In any one of these games that slips through your grasp, there's always a play that sticks out. That's going to be it. And that's brutal. And if you watch the game afterwards, every teammate going up and giving him a hug, a tearful hug, and saying it's not your fault. One player in the post-game press conference said that Davallon ended up apologizing to the team, and that upset the player. He's like, for him to say sorry, that made me mad because there's nothing we wouldn't be there without him. And it's all the stuff that makes sports so brutal. And then lastly, we talked about this a bit earlier, Tyrese Halliburton's calf. In a game facing elimination, the Pacers' best player might be hobbled, might not play. If he is, he's going to be out there trying to grit it out. Injuries should almost be in their own category of this because it's completely outside your control and there's no real blame there, but it's upsetting. But I would even throw in a little bit, like especially the small tweaks that impact everything. Because if you blow out a knee, right? If you dislocate something, that I don't want to say that's easy, but that's easier, right? That's a story in a bar. I would have won the NBA championship. But in game 5, I blew out everything in my knee. Right? You almost sound like a warrior. If this is the furthest this Pacers group gets, they'd be like, we would have won an NBA championship. But Tyrese Halliburton strained his calf. Like that's just a missed opportunity. It's the agony of defeat. I thought I could play. I could play, right? It takes away almost an excuse. It's the agony kind of has been everywhere around us in sports, and I want to highlight that not to just pile on, like I said, but it is important to have the comparison, or else who cares if people are winning if someone ain't losing? That's what's good about sports. In every other part of life, I think we should all eat. I think we should all win. I think. You can get a promotion and I can get a promotion, right? If we're all sales, I want you to get a sale and me to get a sale. I want us all to eat. In sports, no, there's a winner and a loser, and there has to be. And without the loser, the winner doesn't get the satisfaction.
Spoils. It's like you talk about. My friend said once in a job interview, he got asked, "Do you like winning or do you hate losing more?"
The all-time great athletes usually say they hate losing more than they like winning. I don't really care what motivates you. That goes back to, again, I have so many phrases. I need to rip back on the phrases. But the bear, the hare, right? A fox can be motivated by chasing the hare that they're trying to eat. That's like compliments and good and winning. Or they can be motivated by the bear that's chasing them and trying to eat them. That's being motivated by the fear of losing. I don't care really what you're motivated by, as long as you're running as fast as your little fox legs can carry you. But either way, you're not afraid of losing if there isn't the possibility of winning. And you're not super happy with winning if there's not the possibility of losing. Or even the likelihood of losing. If you're being real, the best wins are the ones that feel like you shouldn't. You're up against a team that's better than you, bigger than you, stronger than you, the favorite. Everybody picked them. Then you win. Those are the best feeling wins. So maybe Halliburton's calf is actually going to make this one sweeter because they're going to go, we were down 3-2. Best player has a tweaked calf. That was the game Aaron Nesmith made 75 threes, and we never looked back. The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. Speaking of never looking back, we will look back when we come back because Feedback Frenzy is next on the schedule. We'll look back at some conversations we had, grab the feedback from you, and respond. Stick around.
Dennis Cox here for my friends over at Law Tigers. One of the things we love about sports is being part of a community. You have people that share the same fandom as you, that go to games just like you. And being a motorcycle rider like myself, you're part of a motorcycle riding community. And there's a lot of motorcycle riders out there, obviously, that I don't know. I haven't met. I've seen them out there on the road. But I know they're part of that same community and enjoy riding a motorcycle just like I do. And this is where Law Tigers comes in. Law Tigers is there for you if you're injured in a motorcycle accident. That's why you got to give them a call at 1-800-LAW-TIGERS. Law Tigers attorneys are part of the motorcycle riding community. They are part of that network. That's why your case evaluation with them is always free. They don't get paid until your case settles because they know what your bike is worth, they know what your gear is worth, and they know what you're going through after an accident. That's why you got to give them a call at 1-800-LAW-TIGERS even before you contact the insurance company. Law Tigers, North Carolina's motorcycle injury lawyers. Law Tigers is a network of independent law firms who are members of the American Association of Motorcycle Injury Lawyers. Law Tigers is not a law firm.
Move your sports day forward.
In the often forgettable churn of sports news, it's a good thing Will Wade is stoking the rivalry fire between State and Carolina. In this fresh age of player transfers and payments, the only way to provide spark these days has to be through the coaches. The one-and-done kids can't hint at rivalry. Wade's delivering in an area for me way ahead of schedule.
Get set up. Join Next Up with Paul Ihander. Mornings at 9 on 99.9 The Fan, the Triangle Sports Leader.
Triple play, triple play, triple play. 3 ways to win on every scratch-off. They're like a 3-man wrecking crew of winning potential smashing into your bare hands. Triple threats of cold, hard cash. Prizes up to $1 million. 3 times the play, 3 times the thrills, and 3 ways to win. Triple play from the North Carolina Education Lottery with triple action-packed chances to win.
Must be 18 to play. Approximate overall odds of winning range from 1 in 3.84 to 4.79. Problem gambling helpline 877-718-5543.
NASCAR Prime is gearing up for the Tricky Triangle at Pocono.
This is the moment you've all been waiting for.
After 5 decades of racing tradition, it's clear that strategy is king at Pocono.
Finally, some separation between first, second, and third.
3 legendary turns, 3 unique approaches.
Wow, that's close.
Who will tame the triangle this year? Don't miss the Cup Series at Pocono, streaming Sunday at 1 p.m. Eastern.
Let's freaking go!
NASCAR, it's on Prime.
Is your heating and air system ready for the changing season? Call Newcomb & Company to ensure your system is running at peak performance. As a Comfort Contract customer, you'll get priority service and a 15% discount on all HVAC and plumbing service calls and repairs. Newcomb & Company, your independent trained dealer, has proudly served our community for more than 70 years, delivering reliable comfort and peace of mind. Call 919-862-3000 or visit newcombandcompany.com. Newcomb & Company, your comfort is our business.
Adam Gold in studio with my friend Ryan Monsine from the Aluminum Company of North Carolina. Now that it's hot outside, everybody's spending more time outside. I have noticed that there are people that have gutter issues, whether there's stuff still stuck up there or a gutter hanging off the house. You can help.
Absolutely, Adam. And let me tell you this. If you're looking up and it looks like a garden in your gutters, you need to call the Aluminum Company of North Carolina. We have the gutter helmet, which will keep you from cleaning out the inside of your gutters for as long as you own the home. We can also replace the existing gutters. We can replace any rotten wood. We're a one-stop shop company that can take care of all your home improvement needs, whether it's gutters, windows, siding, doors, roofing. We really can turnkey the whole project and make an easy, comfortable payment through some of our 12-month interest-free financing options, and then you get a lifetime warranty at the end of it all.
12 months interest-free?
You heard that right.
12 months interest-free. AluminumCompany.com.
The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. Appropriate song bringing us at a break for what we call a feedback frenzy, where you get to tell us what's on your mind. Only through comments and feedback online. Producer Max ran around all of our YouTube comments, social media, everywhere you could find it. Pick the best feedback from you. He'll bring it on air. We'll have a chance to respond. Max, take it away.
All right, so a lot of what we've been talking about recently is centered around the Canes offseason. Got a couple weeks here until free agency starts. A lot of trade rumors going around. But yesterday we started with a conversation about a potential long-term extension for Logan Stankoven.
Correct.
AC Mill 3209 said, if I was them, I'd only accept a 2 to 3 year extension so they have a bit of security but can cash in on a big payday as they enter their prime. Talking about Stankoven's camp. From a Canes perspective, they both look promising, but let's get them both a full year before fully committing. Really excited to watch these guys. I'm pretty sure he was lumping in Jackson Blake there as well.
Or Nikishin, perhaps.
Him as well. Kind of all in the same boat with the 1 year left, restricted free agency.
There is a lot of logic to the player wanting 2 to 3 years. However, they don't get exactly what the players don't get exactly what the players want, because they are under team control for at least 1 more year. The Canes don't have to give them an extension. So if the Canes say, we will offer you a 5-year extension, and the players say, we want 2 years so we get the stability, but we also get to take a bite at the free agency market earlier, the Canes can say no. And then you get to play this whole upcoming year building your value perhaps, but also risking injury, risking poor play, risking getting benched, risking all of these other things that would hurt your value. If you're comfortable doing that, yeah, then that's where leverage and negotiation becomes a thing. Players don't get to just draw up their preferred terms, slide them across the table and go, when would you like to sign? It has to be agreed upon in both. The Canes probably want him to sign a 8-year deal at a super reasonable number.
Yeah.
Players won't do that. Players probably want to sign a 2 or 3 year deal for $5 million each year so they get that $10, $15 million nest egg to protect their future financially. Teams don't want that, so you got to find the middle ground. That's what negotiation is. But yes, you're right. I don't doubt that is exactly what they'd want to do. And then on the other side, waiting, right? Let's see him do it for a full year before we give him any kind of contract. That's a risky game as well. If you see it for a year and they prove they're good, they're going to want more money. So you have to trust your eyes, trust your development, trust your scouting. Because the other, the reason why I don't like that, let me just take a step back. I hate anyone under the age of 30. If you're a main contributor, I don't like teams going all the way to the end of your contract. Because then the last year, you're kind of betting against your own player. Like when quarterbacks are 26 years old, or they're playing on their 5th-year option, I'm going, this is so weird. The team wants to pay him less, so they're playing him. If he plays really well, the team, that's not good. I want everyone motivated for every player on my team to play well. If they're like, whoa, before we give Stankoven any money here, let's see it for a full year, you're kind of betting that he's not like an all-star. Because if he's an all-star, he just doubled in price. I don't like that. So get the deal, get it done reasonable, be fair. I'm big on fair. Don't try to swindle anybody. Win-win, move on.
All right, staying on the Canes, this was on a video from a segment yesterday. We were talking about it's the summer of getting a center. So for the Hurricanes, trying to find one via trade or via free agency. Joe Jackson 6801 said, Tage Thompson is number 1 on my wish list if available, like a lot of us have said. Another underrated option is to acquire Steven Stamkos at a partial cap hit. Word is Nashville's looking to rebuild.
Didn't they just trade for Eric Holla?
They did.
Where they gave away, if I'm not mistaken, I don't remember the exact, it was a younger player and a pick.
A 4th-round pick, I believe.
Okay, so not, but still, that's not a rebuild move. Maybe it's because I've been having so much fun with the true fantastical, everybody gets everything hypotheticals. Like Stamkos on a moderately smaller cap hit just doesn't get my adrenaline flowing the way some of these other prospects do. Obviously, Stamkos brings certain experience and postseason success and everything, but it really didn't work for Nashville much at all last year. And I don't know if I'm watching Nashville going, that looks nice. I'll have what they're having.
Well, that's where you and I differ. I kind of pulled that comment because I really like that. I mean, right-handed center. He scored almost 600 goals in the NHL.
How old is Stamkos now?
He's 34.
All right, so he'd be on the same...
35 now, actually. It was age 34 season last year.
He'd be on a similar timeline to like Jordan Staal.
Somewhat, yes. But he has a few hundred more goals.
He's a completely different player. I was just talking age.
3 years left on that deal. It's $8 million AAV. Maybe in a trade, you get it 1/3 retained, so then you're paying 5.6. I'm pretty sure that was the exact cap situation when they traded for Brent Burns a couple years ago as well.
I don't hate it. I would prefer to shop in the younger aisle, if that is something we're allowed to say.
Fair enough. Fair enough. This one, from the same video. This was kind of out there, but I just want to see what your reaction is. Joshua Hoot said, "I got a crazy idea. Offer sheet Mason McTavish out of Anaheim. It's going to cost 4 firsts, and it's going to have to be 7 by 12 plus. Just because Anaheim has $40 million of cap space this year, you have to make it where you break their cap structure next year. It's going to be a little bit painful, but I'm tired of not having a top 2-line center to drive play. Look, I'd like a second-line center as well, but I don't know if I want to pay Mason McTavish $12 million a year for the next 7 years."
Yeah. We're looking at 22 goals this past year. We're looking at 52 as a high in points. And you want to be up near... See, that's kind of what I'm getting. Do they want to pay $12 million? Is that what
because of how the offer sheet structure is.
Yes, and Dennis keeps talking about, I don't know how likely or possible, or even if Washington would allow this. I think you might be able to trade back. Like, you have to give up something to get your third rounder back from Washington, and then you kind of open up that middle offer sheet that you can sign, because right now it's either like very low or 4 firsts and has to be 11.7. I've said this once, I've said this a million times. I don't love the category of player available for 10 to 12 million right now, because everybody knows the cap is about to skyrocket, so anybody worth anything is asking for 14. If you're right now asking for 10 to 12, it's basically you saying, like, I know I'm not that great, but you're going to have all this money. And then what's $2 million more to go get the top shelf guy for 14? It's the same as this, as a analogy. Have you ever heard of DeMatha? DeMatha, the high school?
Yeah.
It's in Maryland.
The storied
yes.
high school basketball, yeah.
I played with a couple guys from DeMatha, and one of them was hilariously self-aware. Okay, he was an undersized center. Went to DeMatha, and we had a bunch, we had 4 or 5 guys from DeMatha on my University of Delaware football team. And one day I forget how we got there, he just casually says, anyone from DeMatha at Delaware stinks. And he was talking like he was one of them. And I was like, he was our starting center. I was like, what do you mean? He said, we get so over-recruited at DeMatha. Like, if you are any good at all, you get offers from Maryland and Pittsburgh and Virginia Tech and all the ACC schools. And if you are actually good, you get offers from Alabama and Oregon and Florida and Texas. And if you are a true 5-star, you can pretty much just go straight to the league. We get so over-recruited because we're DeMatha. Every coach comes through that if you go to DeMatha and still end up at Delaware, you're not that good. And I went, that's funny, because he was making fun of himself. Then you get to see the other guys that came from DeMatha, and you're like, you know what, man? Might have a point there. But that's kind of where it is right now. If your agent is asking for, or your, hyped up fans are asking for 11 million right now, I don't think you're that good, because everyone is asking for so much more money right now because of the way the cap is going. So, like, Mitch Marner's not worth $14 million. Right now, the only player in the league due to count against the cap $14 million next year is Leon Draisaitl. Mitch Marner is not Leon Draisaitl, but with the way the cap's going, I'm sure his agent's leaking $14 million to everybody. If like the high numbers that are being thrown out in leaks is $12 million, that's like going to Delaware from DeMatha. Like you're already over recruited to $12 million. So I don't want to spend $10 to $12 million on anybody. If I'm shopping bargain basement, the most I want to go is like $7. If I'm shopping top shelf, I want to go get one of the top shelf guys for 13 or 14, 13 and a half, whatever it ends up being. So no, I'm not giving McTavish anywhere near $12 million.
No, if I'm spending $12 million on someone, it's not him. I love that was just so out of left field. But that's kind of how the Tulski acquisitions go. It's kind of out of left field. You don't know it's coming, and then boom, there it is. So
I do like the idea of reacquiring the third from Washington, giving you more offer sheet potential, because the way the cap is wide open for the Canes, I do think they could they call them poison pill offer sheets, where you make an offer financially that the other team just cannot match, and you go from there. But I really don't want the 4 firsts and the 11.7 per, unless it is like a no-doubt slam dunk guy.
Connor Bedard or something.
Yeah, it's got to be something stupid, which is unrealistic to even throw names out. But if it happens, I'll be cool.
Maybe they could acquire McDavid or Draisaitl. No draft compensation required there. I know there were some comments about McDavid and his future today.
With that being said, that's always great, by the way. There's a lot of tweets out there right now for Connor McDavid with that being said is going to go down in infamy for the Edmonton Oilers because they asked him about his future. And I love it here. We've been building towards, and this core is great. That being said, I got to do what's right for my family. It's a big change. That being said, I don't think McDavid goes anywhere, but goodness gracious if he does. I mean, Gretzky was traded, right? That's what everybody points to. Could happen. To the Canes? For everybody, essentially, and all the picks and all the... Maybe. The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. We have the starting 5 coming up next. Don't go anywhere.
Hey, it's Adam Gold, and I know the hurricane season came to an end. Another year with a loss to Florida in the Eastern Conference Finals, 2 of the last 3. But it's been a great year, and it's going to be a great summer with all that cap room the Hurricanes have. We got a lot of stuff to talk about, from free agency to trades to the draft. We'll have player interviews, special sit-down with Rod Brind'Amour that he doesn't even know about yet. He'll do it, don't worry. Just stay tuned to the Canes Corner podcast on YouTube. Search Canes Corner and wherever you get your podcast.
Hi, Zoe Saldana. Welcome to T-Mobile. Here's your new iPhone 16 Pro on us.
Thanks. And here's my old phone to trade in.
You don't need a trade-in. When you switch to T-Mobile, we'll give you a new iPhone 16 Pro. Plus, we'll help you pay off your old phone up to $800, and you still get to keep it.
There's always a trade-in.
Not right now at T-Mobile.
I feel like I have to give you something in return for karma.
That's okay.
I don't really have much in my purse. Oh, let's see. Hand sanitizer. It's lavender.
I'm good. Seriously.
Let me check this pocket. Oh, mints?
Really, I'm fine.
Oh, I have raisins. I'm a mom. Wait 1 sec. I've got cupcakes in the car.
It's our best iPhone offer ever. Switch to T-Mobile. Get a new iPhone 16 Pro with Apple Intelligence on us. No trade-in needed. We'll even pay off your phone up to $800.
With 24 monthly bill credits, new line $100 plus a month on experience beyond finance agreement, $999.99 and qualifying forwarded. For well qualified plus tax and $10 connection charge. Pay off via virtual prepaid card allow 15 days. Credits end and balance due if you pay off early or cancel. See T-Mobile.com.
Pack your summer with wonder and wild fun at Busch Gardens. Explore 9 European villages. Race across 29,000 feet of coaster track. Become the beast and race above Bavaria on the all-new Big Bad Wolf, The Wolf's Revenge. Now open. Make summer wonder-filled with high-energy shows, concerts, and fireworks every Saturday during Summer of Wonder from June 27th through July 31st at Busch Gardens, Williamsburg, the world's most beautiful theme park. Save up to 50% on tickets, fun cards, and memberships during our 4th of July sale. Hurry, offer ends soon. Restrictions apply.
Tim Donnelly here for Bailey's Fine Jewelry, specifically the Fox and Bailey watch shop located inside Bailey's Fine Jewelry at their Village District location. Right now, what I want you to do, real quickly, is go find your phone, grab the Instagram app, and follow Fox and Bailey Watch Shop, at Fox and Bailey Watch Shop, so you can be the first to know when hot new timepieces hit the shop. From vintage Rolex to bold new styles from Blancpain, Norcane, Hamilton, so many more. Their feed is like a VIP preview window for collectors and enthusiasts. They don't just show off watches either, although that is fun. When they just post the new Heat that just dropped, that's a good time. They also teach you about them, learn the story behind iconic models, what makes them a good investment piece, and tips on care and collecting. So give them a follow, Fox and Bailey Watch Shop. That's the handle, by the way, at Fox and Bailey Watch Shop on Instagram. You can direct message, communicate, ask for prices. It's very cool, very approachable. I follow them. You should as well. Fox and Bailey Watch Shop on Instagram. Go give them a follow right now.
Maxed out on credit cards, struggling with high interest debt? You can pay it all off in days with Loan Pronto's Rapid Equity Loan. Hey, it's Dennis Cox. Get cash out now without touching your low-rate first mortgage. No appraisals, no waiting, no BS. The Rapid Equity Loan program at Loan Pronto is amazing. One Loan Pronto client just got $300,000 approved in under 24 hours. They paid off debt, renovated the kitchen, and cut their monthly expenses by $1,800. That's a huge turnaround. Loan Pronto, instant approvals, low rates, no hard credit pull up front. Listen, your home equity is yours. Use it. Get cash to consolidate your debt down to one easy low monthly payment. Call Loan Pronto now for a free instant appraisal for your home and see how much cash you can get today. Loan Pronto is A+ rated by the BBB and have nearly 2,500 5-star Google reviews. Their service is off the charts. Call now to start the conversation. 919-381-1760, loanpronto.com. 919-381-1760. Get debt relief now. Loanpronto.com. Equal housing lender. NMLS 166171 on approved credit. NMLS consumeraccess.org.
I'm attorney Brian Ritchie. Big truck accidents can cause life-changing injuries, and life-changing injuries deserve life-changing money. I know big truck wrecks, and I know how to fight those big insurance companies. If you've been hurt by a big truck, contact us at ritchielaw.com. I'm on top of it.
Broadcasting live from the Lenovo Studios. WCMC HD1 Holly Springs. 99.9 The Fan. The Triangle Sports Leader.
I'm meteorologist Amy Wilmoth in the WRAL Severe Weather Center. It's a weather alert day today. Storms are possible late this evening, and some of them could contain some damaging winds and the potential for hail. Ahead of the front, it is definitely hot out there today with temperatures in the 90s. Overnight tonight, things will start to calm down. Skies will clear with lows in the low 70s.
Weather report brought to you by Newcomb & Company, where your comfort is their business. Visit newcombandcompany.com. 5 o'clock check of your money markets closed today for the Juneteenth holiday. So it closed down 44 points yesterday, 42,171.
It's 5 o'clock. Time to serve up the biggest sports stories of the day. Here comes your starting five.
The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. It is time for the starting five. Starting five brought to you by Ritchie Law Firm, Injury Lawyers. Ritchie Law is on top of it. Go to ritchielaw.com. That's RICCI law.com. The starting five, as always, starts with number 5.
Count them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
So here's the deal, everybody. We may have, I'm not saying we definitely did, we may have been unfair to Bill Belichick. We may have expected him to be too good too quick. They're starting to build some momentum at UNC on the recruiting trails for football. The latest sign of that being a flip of an Oklahoma O-line commitment. That's Will Conroy. He is a 3-star, but he's the 23rd ranked interior offensive lineman in the country. So 3-star at that position is actually pretty impressive. He's from IMG Academy, which is one of the premier prospect machines in all of prep football. And he was committed to Oklahoma. He flipped his commitment to UNC, which UNC is now pretty universally, depending on every site you could go to, pretty universally in the top 20 nationally for 2026 recruiting classes. That's good. That's building steam. So I think I and most of us were a bit underwhelmed by the lack of just an onslaught of players, blue chips, transfers, future NFLers immediately committing to UNC when Bill Belichick took over? Because we were thinking, he's got 6 Super Bowls. If you want to play in the NFL, how does that not make sense? And when it didn't happen, the underwhelming rush was felt. But then almost while we were distracted, they're starting to put some things together. And maybe that's more on us than on him. Maybe that's more on us than on them. Because most coaches, when they take over, right, we preach patience. We preach, all right, this first year, you got to kind of turn over the roster. You got to find a way. You're going to maybe depend more on transfers than you're used to. And then the next year, right, your culture's implemented and everything else gets to build off of it. If we put UNC and judge them on that scale, they're doing pretty well. But if we put them on they just hired a NFL legend in his 70s and they can't wait and be patient like everybody else scale, then they might be moving a little slow. How we judge them is really up to us, right? In the eyes of the beholder. But Will Conroy is a good sign. And their quarterback recruit at Burgess, whatever, I forget his last name. Their quarterback recruit that is at the Elite 11 right now is turning heads. Elite 11 being the premier quarterback showcase for high school players. Turning heads at their little pro day night activities where they turn on the lights and show off. They did well. There's some positives coming to UNC football. It just might be a little bit slower than some of us were anticipating. That's number 5. Let's hit number 4.
1, 2, 3, 4, all together.
Jaire Alexander to the Ravens. Now, this happened yesterday. Jaire Alexander, cornerback, spent most of his time with the Green Bay Packers, has been a Pro Bowler, has been a top corner. He was released by the Packers because his play dipped just a little bit, and he was due $17.5 million. That didn't make sense. There was a portion of time where the Packers and Jaire were exploring a restructure, so it's not like the Packers had an issue with him. They just couldn't figure out a way to make $17.5 million make sense. So he gets released. He's from the state of North Carolina. That immediately put him on a lot of Panthers radars, Panther fans' radars. Also, he plays a position of dire need for the Panthers. I believe corner is something where their depth it needs to be fixed, right? It's not ready for game one. So adding him would have made a lot of sense. Then he commits to the Ravens. He signs with the Ravens. Commits. This isn't college. He signs with the Ravens. And it is exactly the type of signing that the Panthers aren't getting yet. And it's what we talked about earlier, right? When Jaire Alexander was released, when Jermaine Pratt, a linebacker from the state of North Carolina that played at NC State, had 140 tackles with the Bengals last year, he was released. And same thing happened where everybody mentioned that he should sign with the Panthers, and because they're from here. And because they're from here. And my takeaway was the Panthers have to get to a spot where the good players that are cut consider the Panthers even if they're not from Carolina, even if they didn't go to a local college. Because Jaire Alexander signed with the Ravens, make no mistake about it, because he wanted a 1-year prove-it deal, and he signed, the reports are that he signed for less than he had offers elsewhere. He had more money on the table from other teams, but he signed a 1-year deal with the Ravens with the idea that the Ravens can help him play well, can show that he can play winning football, will build up his stock, and then next offseason, he can take a bigger bite at the free agency apple, still on the underside of 30, and that is a business decision to take less now because he believes it'll be worth more later. That's what the Panthers need. The Panthers are still at the point where I won't say there's a Panther tax. That's nice. I used to call it a Washington tax. At times there's been JAG taxes, which means a franchise is so bad that if you want a free agent to play with you, you have to pay like 120% of what any other team would pay to get them to commit to you. I don't think the Panthers are there, but they're also not getting the benefit of, hey, these veterans want to go somewhere to build their value. Or a later version of that, a player who's already financially set and just wants to go win. When they start choosing you, that's a different kind of benefit from running a well-run, well-orchestrated, highly thought-of program is you get discounts on things like this. Jaire going to the Ravens. By the way, the other side note is he was at Louisville at the same time as Lamar. So maybe there's I want to play with my friend. I think more likely it's I know how good Lamar is and I want to play winning football. And because I've seen up close and personal how good Lamar is, I want to play for the Ravens. Bryce doesn't have that benefit yet. All of that should come if you keep building. If you keep moving in the right direction, all of that should be on the horizon where people like to be a part of something growing. People leave, guaranteed salary for jobs at startups that come with equity because they want to be a part of the build. You'll get guys that want to join into the Panthers once it's obvious they're the next big thing. You just got to make it obvious that you're the next big thing. That is number 4 here in the starting 5, brought to you by Richie Law. Let's go to number 3.
The first 2 games they played in the playoffs back in mid-April, they lost. Then they won the next 4 and the 2 rounds after. They have been absolutely relentless. Brind'Amour with the net empty. Pronger shrugs it away. The Carolina Hurricanes have won the Stanley Cup.
19 years ago today, the Canes won the Stanley Cup. 19 years ago today. I have a pretty cool idea with how they could celebrate the 20th anniversary. Right, 19, I don't even know what anniversary that is. It's like paper mache or something. 20 is a big one. I know how you could celebrate the 20th anniversary. Getting another. Wouldn't that be nice? 20 years to the day after you hoist the cup again?
It'd be perfect. I don't know if that's like the silver anniversary, but that would line up well.
What? I'm gonna ask the internet. What is the 20th anniversary gift? Platinum china?
Platinum
silver. China, like a silver bowl?
Yeah, the similarities are there.
Like a silver cup, if you will. 19 is bronze, by the way. You could argue the Canes finished in third or fourth, right? It's tie for third, I guess. They didn't play the third place game. Rod Brind'Amour was on earlier today with Adam Gold here on our network, and he was asked if his 2006 teammates reach out on the anniversary of the Cup win, with today being 19 years. Here's Rod's answer.
Inevitably, someone's going to send a text out on our group chat. I'm surprised it hasn't happened yet. Someone always sends a picture, and then that generates the whole conversation, and then you can imagine the text that comes flying through, and then it dies down for another year. But, I'm actually looking forward to it.
That's got to be the coolest group chat in the world. Being on a championship team group chat, I don't even like that. Just naming it. Probably just, cup winners, something like that. Champs. With a little trophy emoji.
Yeah, 2006 champs. The group photo is Rod lifting the trophy over his head.
Yeah, exactly. So cool. So jealous. Not a political joke, but if I could be added to a group chat and have nobody really know why I was there, I'll just listen. I'll just read. That might be one of them. Just see Eric Stahl send a picture like, miss you boys. But obviously, Rod Brind'Amour, he has those memories, but it's all about getting another, right? He knows how hard it is. He knows how much it means to get another. He's out chasing cups, and he was on with Adam Gold, like I said. He was asked if the Canes need more production from the center position. Here's Rod.
Yeah, listen, there's no secret there. We need a little more production. It really, you don't want to just boil it down to one player, because that's not really fair. But, there's an area, I think, if we're talking, being realistic about, okay, we talked about Svesk being a little bit better. And, you might mention Nate just when he was with us, he was better, like when he came back, right? I think he led the league in scoring there for the first month or whatever. So, like that, there you go. And that's the kind of stuff we need. I think with what we're talking about, Kotkaniemi, he's got to be on the score sheet if he's going to be in that role. So we have to get more than, I think he had one goal in the last 35 games or something like that. There's an area right there. Can he be better, right? Like that, he's going to have to be if that's taking these next steps. So
I agree with all of that, but I will say this. Jesperi Kotkaniemi has had a lot of chances to show that he was going to step into that role. And there's two ways to get better at a position. One, individual improvement by the player in that position. Two, replace them with a better player. You can keep hoping for one, or you could do two. That's obviously how options work. You can choose one or the other. Last one here. Rod Brind'Amour was asked about by Adam Gold on the Adam Gold Show. Comments from Jacob Slavin. And basically he was asked, does he agree with Slavin that the Canes need more physicality?
Oh, well, listen, we all want to have a little more of that. And I think it gets a little bit overblown at times because we did up the ante in the playoffs on the physicality part of it. And I think we out-hit every team we played in the playoffs. So, like, that was a real positive for me. We're just, we're definitely built a little differently. And it's not even the size-wise. Everyone talks about our small forwards because we do have some smaller forwards, but we also have Will Carrier and Jordan and Spesh, and we got Robbie and KK. These are all huge forwards. So it's just our top guys are, they're undersized, but they got the dog in them and they fight like crazy. So I feel like it kind of cancels itself out. What we probably don't have is the guy that's willing to slit the other guy's throat.
I think, to be completely honest, Rod Brind'Amour could roll out a lineup of, like, if his third line was Evander Holyfield centering Mike Tyson and Lennox Lewis, and you said, could you use more physicality? Well, yeah, we always want more physicality. You're never going to get a no answer to that. If they're still looking for the guy that can slit someone's throat or whatever he said at the end there, I think that's something they can solve this offseason. We're doing a new thing. By the way, follow us on all of our social medias, 99.9 The Fan, Instagram, Twitter, all that kind of stuff. On one of them, it's either YouTube or Instagram, maybe both. We have a new thing going. It's my hot take of the week. My hot take this week was that in addition to getting the center and the winger and all of that, the Canes need what I call a whiskey drinker. Because of the saying, you're not going to win if the whole team's drinking milk. You need a guy or two that drinks whiskey. I think they need somebody that's a little more grizzled, a little more, ready to drop the gloves. Whether they do drop the gloves a bunch or not, you just need a guy that carries themselves that way. And I think that's what Rod was getting at the end there. I don't think anyone's going to argue with that. Doesn't have to be Lennox Lewis or Evander Holyfield or any of that, but you can find somebody. That's number 3. Let's hit number 2.
Just the two of us. Drives down the right lane line, gets fouled, throws it up and in, count it with the harm. Styles into the lane at 7:09 to play. Mark it down as Styles has come alive.
Paul Mbiya. His time. We're gonna have to come up with a new term in college basketball. What is somebody that was committed to a program as a transfer for like 3 or 4 months, but never actually played for them?
Former commit?
Former commit? Okay, is that
but
what we're rolling
not
with?
Not a transfer commit, though. He was just a regular commit.
He was a regular commit, but there's like Cedric Coward for Duke. Former commit? Because he's still a commit.
Late,
he never didn't commit.
Late commit, but like that might be a little...
Paul Mbiya was a 20-year-old former pro in France that committed as a freshman to NC State and then asked for his release, and he decommitted a couple months later and never played a single play with NC State. But somehow his absence will be felt because I do think they're going to miss a player of his caliber at his size. They do have Ebube, and I apologize if I'm mispronouncing that, player that they just got a commitment from Wyoming, who's 6'10", 275, but he played at Wyoming and tallied 5 points and 2.7 rebounds per game. I'm not going to expect him to be a 30-minute guy in the ACC right out the gate. Everybody else in their rotation is 6'9" or shorter, and the 6'9" player, Jerry Dang, is kind of perimeter-oriented. He's a shooter. Then Alan Lubin, while he may be more of a down-low presence, he's 6'8". I think offensively, he can play amongst the trees and be fine. He's a good player. He can jump. Defensively, you need somebody that's going to guard 7-footers. And if that's always Ebube, if that's always him, I don't think that's going to go well. You can ask UNC what it's like to play in the ACC, major college, try to win, make Final Fours, win ACC championships without height. They tried it last year, and it's not even that they didn't have height. They just didn't have post players. They had Van Allen Lubin, 6'8", did his best, and they had some 6'10", 6'11 guys that were more, shooters, perimeter, big guards. I think NC State's going to have really good wings. I think they're going to have really good point guards. I think they might be lacking in the post right now because the flip side of that is, right, Mbiya just hit the market. I don't know. I heard Kansas is interested. Who knows, right? He's now one of the premier bigs on the market. Somebody else could have someone decommit tomorrow, and maybe State, fills that hole with a 7-footer, and they're more happy about it. Who knows? But right now, I think they're a little light in the down low. That's number 2. Let's hit number 1.
The one! But Wallace grabs it. SGA the drive. Back out the door. Right side. Jalen Williams a 3. It's gone. Taylor Williams knocks it down.
All right. So the NBA Finals, Game 6 tonight. Potential closeout game for the Thunder. They are up 3-2. Tyrese Halliburton, who in their last game for the Pacers had it's probably mean to say this, a historically bad game. He scored 4 points, none at half, no field goals, 0 for 4 from 3. I believe it's the first time an All-NBA player in a finals game was held without a field goal make. That's bad. But then you learn he had a calf strain, and he got an MRI, and he wasn't sure if he was going to play. By the way, Shams Charania, ESPN insider, earlier today, he is fully intending to be out there tonight. He's going to gut it out, is what it's being said. So he's going to try to play. If he's effective or not, completely up in the air. Because he played it the last game, and it just wasn't there. He didn't have the same pop. If the Pacers don't have Halliburton, then I think the pressure almost changes to OKC. If it's obvious Halliburton is hobbled, then everyone else on the Pacers get to play completely carefree and loose because so what do we have to lose, right? Just go knock down shots. Just go put it up, run the offense, run, do whatever you want because we're already so far behind the 8 ball here. And OKC has to resist the urge to think they got it. Halliburton's hobbled. He's not him. He's with us. That's a burn in pickup basketball terms. Oh, he with us, right? As soon as they start thinking like that, it's over. Here's Jalen Williams, who had a 40-burger in a finals game already on OKC, not looking too far ahead, obviously, with this being a closeout game. Do we have the Jalen Williams sound?
Sorry, yes, we have it right here.
Here it is.
It's just more about like putting one foot in front of the other. You start looking ahead, you lose focus of like a lot of the little lessons that you can learn on the journey. So a lot of that is just trying to like stay focused. And, obviously once you get closer in this point, the goal is obviously to win a championship. But just throughout the season, you're just trying to see how good you can get. And then when you look up, you're in the NBA Finals or you're in, for us last year, it was round 2 of the playoffs. And you just kind of like go from there and try and get better after it.
They need to stay locked in. If Halliburton is hobbled, like anything other than 100%. I mean, I'll give him down to 92. Anything less than 92% from Halliburton, OKC just has to focus on them. If they just play solid Thunder basketball, they'll win. They'll have a trophy. They'll be dancing in Oklahoma City. What do they do there? Line dancing? Put on some cowboy hats, some belt buckles, some cowboy boots, and go line dancing with the NBA trophy, the Larry O. The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. Tim Donnelly here for Miller Lending. Miller Lending is the home of the no closing cost loan. And I tell you so often, this is how you can protect yourself. Take all of the stress out of getting a mortgage. And I don't mean that in a way that, you don't have to worry about high rates or your monthly payment being slightly higher than you want. I mean, you don't have to worry about the fluctuations in the market doing you dirty. Oh, we just locked in a mortgage yesterday, and now rates are 2 points lower. Oh, no. We're so dumb because you got a no closing cost loan. And what that means is if rates drop in the near future or the extended future. Whenever they drop, refinance, no cost, no fees, no cash out of your pocket. There's no issues. And the same is true vice versa. Oh, we didn't get our mortgage yesterday because we were worried that rates were going to drop and we'd feel foolish. And today they're up 2 points. Now what are we going to do? Oh, no. Well, because you weren't worried about the vice versa happening, you got your mortgage yesterday. The no closing cost loan really just puts a little bit more control in your hands. Gordon Miller and Miller Lending have been doing no closing cost loans since 1987. They've been that's obviously Gordon Miller's been doing them since 1987. Miller Lending's been doing them since they arrived here in the Triangle. Locally owned, by the way. When you call, you'll talk to someone right here in Cary, which is always nice to know. Matter of fact, when you call, you need a number. Here it is, 919-447-3377. That's 919-447-3377. Or you can visit them online at millerlending.com. Once again, that is millerlending.com. Miller Lending is an equal housing lender, NMLS number 250-2146. We need numbers game contestants. I almost forgot. Numbers game contestants right now, call in, and you can win a $50 gift card to Apex Racing Lab. It's a really fun deal. It's if you're competitive, that's a good way to go set a lap time, look at all your friends and say, beat that. I'm a very competitive person in that way. My cousin's husband races, like he buys really expensive cars. They go to the track, he races. Went to one of the, similar to Apex Racing Lab, only it wasn't the simulator, it was the go-karts. This was in another city. And I was talking so much trash, and he smoked me. But guess what? At least I got in the arena. You can get in the arena as well. $50 gift card to Apex Racing Lab goes to the winner of the numbers game. 919-860-5326. Call that number right now if you want to play the numbers game. 919-860-5326. We need 2 contestants to play the numbers game. Call in now. Numbers game next.
Listen every afternoon for The Drive with Tim Donnelly.
Every offseason, I tell myself, don't fall for it. Don't get excited by minicamp highlights. And then you see one grainy clip from the sideline of Bryce Young throwing a deep ball to Tetaroa McMillan, and I fall for the trap every time. Tetaroa McMillan, Rookie of the Year, 10 touchdowns. Book it.
The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 3 to 6 on 99.9 The Fan.
Did you catch Luisito's header?
Yeah, I just recorded it on my new Samsung A36 5G phone I got for free at Total Wireless.
Oh, I'm actually live streaming the whole match with my new Samsung Tab A9 that I also got free at Total Wireless.
I got that tablet too.
And I got that phone too. We both got both.
Switch to Total Wireless and get both the Samsung A36 5G and the Samsung Tab A9 for free. For a limited time while supplies last, valid in store. Requires new phone activation on the Total 5G Unlimited plan or higher external port and ID verification and new activation on the Total 5G Unlimited 3-month tablet plan. Restrictions apply.
A pepperoni pizza for the table. May I suggest trying it with our Pepsi Zero Sugar? It has just the right amount of sweetness to complement all that cheesy, saucy goodness. Simply divine.
Pepsi Zero Sugar? You've really outdone yourself this time. Pizza deserves Pepsi.
Handy Hugo's has a refreshing deal. 2 1-liter Pepsis for just $3. Quench your thirst at Handy Hugo's today.
NASCAR Prime is gearing up for the Tricky Triangle at Pocono.
This is the moment you've all been waiting for.
After 5 decades of racing tradition, it's clear that strategy is king at Pocono.
Finally, some separation between first, second, and third.
3 legendary turns, 3 unique approaches.
Wow, that's close.
Who will tame the Triangle this year? Don't miss the Cup Series at Pocono, streaming Sunday at 1 p.m. Eastern.
Let's freaking go!
NASCAR, it's on Prime.
What sounds like a fun weekend?
Let's rent e-bikes and have a picnic.
What does not sound like a fun weekend?
We need to fix the gutters. Let's make 6 trips to the hardware store and still end up with leaky spots.
Preserve your weekend, your home, and investment, and call Preserve Services instead. Our Preserve team excels in interior and exterior painting and home repairs. We're your one-stop shop in the Triangle for jobs you need done, but don't want to tackle. And get this, you don't pay a penny until the job's done. Schedule today at PreserveServices.com.
Need CPAP supplies fast? I'm Brandon Giggling, president of Parkway Sleep Health Centers, and we are the Triangle's top sleep provider, offering quick access to the equipment you need for better sleep. Get the right supplies right when you need them. With over 20 years of experience, our expert team is here to help you sleep better, sooner.
Discover why so many trust Parkway Sleep Health Centers for better sleep. Visit parkwaysleep.com now and start your journey to a healthier night's sleep. Parkway Sleep Health Centers. Sound sleep. Sound health.
The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. It is time to play the numbers game. And the way we do that is we bring two contestants on. They battle it out in the numbers game for a prize. The prize for today, $50 gift card to Apex Racing Lab. The contestants are Mike and Clayton and Jeff and Raleigh. We'll ask them each the same question. Our producer for the day, Max, will be the judge. He'll pick his favorite answer. That person will get to go first. Mike and Clayton, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. The question for today is, inspired by Apex Racing Lab, which is the prize, right? Part of the simulator game is you get to go kind of imagine yourself as the coolest driver in the world. So we'll keep it simple and go, what's your dream car? Money's no option. You get to have any car in the entire universe. What car are you choosing to put in your garage?
I grew up as a Fast and the Furious fan, so I'd probably go with the Skyline that Paul drove in the second movie.
All right. That's a great choice. Max, any follow-up questions that you need? Nope. All right. He's shaking his head no. That brings us to Jeff and Raleigh. Jeff, can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Same question to you, inspired by the opportunity to live out our racing dreams at Apex Racing Lab. What is your dream car? If you could put any car in your garage, which one would it be?
I think it'd have to be a Jaguar.
A Jaguar. Any specifics? I mean, if you look at the
my
classics.
buddy growing up, he had a Jaguar and it had 12 cylinders and it was convertible and it was the hottest ride ever. And if I was going to own one, I'd like to have one like that.
All right. Those are the two options. You have the Brian O'Connor Skyline or Jeff's buddy from a couple years ago, Jaguar convertible. Max, which one are you going with?
I like the specificity of the first one from Mike and from Fast and Furious. So we'll go with Mike.
And I like that it was from one of the Fast and Furiouses before it got too ridiculous. They're by the end they're basically superheroes.
I've never seen any of them. So
oh, you should. The first couple, at least the first one is really good. First 3 are okay. It does get a little crazy. Once The Rock is there, who knows what's going on. Mike and Clayton gets to go first. Jeff and Raleigh, you'll be going second, so just sit on the line and hold for a second, but you will have your chance. Mike, are you ready to pick a category?
Yes.
All right. The categories are NFL players with mid-June birthdays, so birthdays in the middle of June. NFL players that were in the top 10 of Rookie of the Year voting but did not win Rookie of the Year. NBA players with multiple triple-doubles that are still active players. And, of course, we have NHL Hurricanes only as our final option. Which is your choice?
Let's do NFL Rookie of the Year that didn't win Rookie of the Year.
Okay. I'll give you the team and the player. You give me the jersey number as quickly as you can. 30 seconds on the clock. One pass if you need it. Are there any questions before we get started?
I'm good to go.
All right, so am I. And your time will start when you hear the horn. Brock Bowers, Las Vegas Raiders.
88.
Incorrect. Sam Laporta, Detroit Lions.
81.
Incorrect. Brock Bowers, Las Vegas Raiders.
85.
Incorrect. Sam Laporta, Detroit Lions.
80.
Incorrect. Brock Bowers, Las Vegas Raiders.
89.
Correct. Jalen Ramsey, Jacksonville Jaguars.
26.
Incorrect. Sam Laporta, Detroit Lions.
82.
Incorrect. I actually thought it was going to be pretty impressive if you guessed numbers in the 80s for both Brock Bowers and Sam Laporta the whole time and didn't stumble into one of them, because you were in the right neighborhood. Brock Bowers, 89, you got that. Laporta's 87. You danced around it a bit, never quite got there. You did get one shot at Jalen Ramsey. He wore number 20 with the Jags. But still, you got one. You avoided the shutout. We'll see if it holds up. Go ahead and stay on the line, okay?
All right, thank you.
All right, and that brings us to Jeff and Raleigh. Jeff, are you there?
Yes, sir.
All right, the categories remaining for you to choose from are NFL players with mid-June birthdays, NBA players that have triple-doubles, multiple triple-doubles, and are still active players, or NHL Hurricanes only.
Yeah, give me the NFL June guys.
Okay. I will give you the team and the player. Give me the jersey number as quickly as you can. 30 seconds on the clock. One pass if you need it, and you need at least 2 for the win. Do you have any questions before we jump in?
Nope.
All right. Your time will start when you hear the horn. Rico Dowdle, Dallas Cowboys.
13.
Incorrect. Cooper Kupp, Los Angeles Rams.
13.
Incorrect. Rico Dowdle, Dallas Cowboys.
30.
Incorrect. Cooper Kupp, Los Angeles Rams. Rashard Mendenhall, Pittsburgh Steelers.
32.
Incorrect. Rico Dowdle, Dallas Cowboys.
30.
Incorrect. Cooper Kupp, Los Angeles Rams.
9.
Incorrect. Rashard Mendenhall, Pittsburgh Steelers.
30.
You know, it's tough. It's tough. You got to know
I'm
for.
no good at this.
Hey, the scoreboard says that you might not be
even
good
get
at
a
this.
Steeler right.
Are you a Steelers fan?
Yeah.
Oh, Mendenhall, he had a good run there. He had a couple 1,000-yard seasons.
No, I blocked him out after he fumbled and he gave Rodgers the Super
I was going to
Bowl.
say, how can you forget the fumble in the Super Bowl?
No, that Mendenhall's dead to me.
That's a fan right there. I don't know his number, but I can tell you exactly the bad plays he made. Number 34 was the number he was wearing when all of that was happening. Cooper Kupp, when he led the league in receptions, receiving yards, and receiving touchdowns with the Rams, he was wearing number 10. And Rico Dowdle, we would have accepted 23 or 34. He wore both during his time with the Cowboys. Unfortunately, not enough for the win. But Jeff, hopefully you had some fun, and hopefully we didn't bring up too many bad memories with Mendenhall.
No, I'm used to this. It's par for the course, but I'll keep trying.
All right, appreciate it, Jeff. And that means Mike and Clayton is the winner. Mike, congratulations.
Thank you.
When you head over to the Apex Racing Lab with your $50 gift card, drive it like you're in the Fast and the Furious.
I will.
All right, stay on the line. Max will make sure you get the gift or he'll get the info to make sure you get the gift. There you go. But congratulations to Mike once again. We've had a lot, and I don't know if this is going to continue happening, so this isn't like a piece of advice for all of you out there. We've had a lot where guys are missing and like missing the numbers game pick, and they're the same number. The other day in the category athletes or football players, NFL players that switched positions from college to the pros, there were 3 82s. Today there were 2 34s, and he was missing them both. There was in the NBA there was a bunch of 8s, I think it was, or 9s. Just seems like that's been happening a lot, and I'm going like, just keep same thing, say it again. But obviously I don't say that because I don't want to cheat. The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. 35 days until training camp for the Carolina Panthers. We do one question about the Panthers per day to end the show, leading all the way up to training camp, and we will ask the question of the day. Coming up next, don't go anywhere.
Dennis Cox here for my friends over at Law Tigers. For anyone looking to ride a motorcycle for the first time, or maybe ride a motorcycle for the first time in maybe a decade, 15, 20 years, there's a lot of uncertainty when it comes to getting on a bike. There's a lot of people who might be a little bit trepidatious about riding a motorcycle. This is where I encourage you to go take a motorcycle safety course. That's something I did before I even purchased my first motorcycle. I took a motorcycle safety course, obviously learned the basics of riding a motorcycle, but most importantly, how to be safe on the road, how to be safe on your motorcycle to make sure that you are best positioned to prevent accidents or being in an accident. But accidents do happen, and this is where Law Tigers comes in. Give them a call at 1-800-LAW-TIGERS if you're injured in a motorcycle accident. Law Tigers, they're riders too, and they know what your bike and your gear are worth. They don't get paid a dime until your case settles, and your case evaluation is always free. So call 1-800-LAW-TIGERS if injured in a motorcycle accident. Law Tigers is a network of independent law firms who are members of the American Association of Motorcycle Injury Lawyers. Law Tigers is not a law firm.
Champions are crowned in June. The Stanley Cup Finals.
Reinhart scores! What a play! Sam Reinhart makes it 1-0 Florida. Tkachuk scores! Matthew Tkachuk with under a minute to go in the first period. Reinhart hits the empty net from the blue line and let the party begin in Sunrise.
The NBA Finals and the College World Series. Your home for championship action all month long. 99.9 The Fan, the Triangle Sports Leader.
If you've got a gas-powered engine, keep it running like new at every fill-up. Stable in-season protection is your engine's preventative medicine, cleaning and protecting the entire fuel system in season. In outdoor power equipment, prevent gum and varnish buildup that could cause a rough or non-running engine. For cars and trucks, increase fuel efficiency and power by removing deposits, ensuring your engine's long-term health. Stable outperforms the competition in independent lab testing. So at every fill-up, start with Stable.
It is I, Juan Carlos Santiago del Santiago, the coolest man in the world. Yes, I am back in Raleigh. Do I go downtown with so many places to party? No, I go to the Shakey's place. The good food, the fine drinks, the coldest of beers, and of course, the many, many beautiful people. I always hang at the Shakey's place, the coolest bar in the world, because, well, it was built for me. Juan Carlos Santiago del Santiago, the coolest man in the world. The Shakey's place, 8800 de Raleigh Road by the Shelley Station.
Are you ready for a global summer showdown? Tuesday, June 24th at Bank of America Stadium. Football legends collide at the 2025 FIFA Club World Cup. Benfica and Bayern Munich. Angel Di Maria and Nicolas Otamendi taking on Harry Kane and Joshua Kimmich. Don't miss your chance to be part of history. Grab your tickets now at FIFA.com/tickets.
Out on credit cards, struggling with high interest debt? You can pay it all off in days with Loan Pronto's Rapid Equity Loan. Hey, it's Dennis Cox. Get cash out now without touching your low-rate first mortgage. No appraisals, no waiting, no BS. The Rapid Equity Loan program at Loan Pronto is amazing. One Loan Pronto client just got $300,000 approved in under 24 hours. They paid off debt, renovated the kitchen, and cut their monthly expenses by $1,800. That's a huge turnaround. Loan Pronto, instant approvals, low rates, no hard credit pull up front. Listen, your home equity is yours. Use it. Get cash to consolidate your debt down to one easy low monthly payment. Call Loan Pronto now for a free instant appraisal for your home and see how much cash you can get today. Loan Pronto is A+ rated by the BBB and have nearly 2,500 five-star Google reviews. Their service is off the charts. Call now to start the conversation. 919-381-1760, loanpronto.com. 919-381-1760. Get debt relief now. Loanpronto.com. Equal housing lender. NMLS 166171 on approved credit. NMLSconsumeraccess.org.
The Drive with Tim Donnelly here on 99.9 The Fan. One more time, please subscribe to our YouTube, 99.9 The Fan. I'd greatly appreciate it. And now I'm going to try to do something for you. I look for just the smallest opening to have the conversation we're about to have. There are 35 days until training camp for the Carolina Panthers. Starting however many weeks ago, we've been doing one question a day about the Panthers for every show until training camp gets here. It's our own little countdown until they put on the pads and start practicing for real. And traditionally, I have a rule. I don't talk fantasy football until July 4th. After the holiday is when you can start talking about it because it's something that I'm very aware that I am a bigger aficionado of than most people. Like, I'm more interested in it than most people. But somebody on Twitter, yesterday it was, I just happened to come across my feed. It said, everyone's talking about all the trades that can happen with the Canes, but I'm too busy getting ready for my fantasy football draft. And I went, oh, there's my opening. Someone else is talking about it. Let's hit it for the question of the day. So the question of the day for the Panthers is, and by the way, it is a fantasy football question, but it's also something you can apply to act like how we prepare for the Panthers. The question is, who are the best fantasy picks from the Panthers? Who would you like to have on your team from the Panthers? Now, the reason why I say this applies to kind of just general football conversation as well is, which players do you want on your fantasy team? The ones that get a bunch of yards, a bunch of catches, a bunch of touchdowns, throw for a bunch of yards, run for a bunch of yards, contribute a bunch of points? Well, that's pretty good for real football too. Right? That's a good way to measure if a receiver is doing well, is if they're catching a lot of passes for a lot of yards and a lot of touchdowns. So the only reason that it's kind of fantasy football, the only reason that it's not our true football conversation is because you're only dealing with the flashy positions. Right? Fantasy football does not care if the offensive line is great. but they do care if they're opening up gigantic holes for the running backs to go get a bunch of yards, right? So it's kind of indirect. But the options that I am kind of throwing out here, Bryce Young, Chuba Hubbard, Teteroa McMillan, Adam Thielen, Xavier Legette, Jalen Coker, Hunter Renfrow, and Jatavian Sanders. Those are the ones that could realistically be on a top 300 list of players, maybe 400 for some of these guys. And here's my official stance. I think I would buy the Panthers discount on a lot of these guys. The Panthers offense was bad last year, okay? If you had Panthers offensive players outside of maybe Chuba Hubbard on your fantasy team last year, you are scarred because of it.
Oh, yeah.
You do not want to do it again. You might swear off the offense entirely. There are certain fantasy football players that have like a sweet spot in my heart and will forever just be like, I like that guy. Allen Robinson had a random 2015 year. He and Blake Bortles carried me to a championship. The team was awful. They were always behind. They threw for 1 billion yards in catch-up football. And because of that, they're, hey, solid. Always my guys. But the same happens in reverse, too. The same happens in reverse as well. You ever draft someone and they tear their ACL week 2? Never picking them again. Can't blame them for the injury. Nah, they're dead to me. So because of that, and because the Panthers offense was not good last year, all of their expected draft positions, their ADPs, average draft position, is going to be lower than what they probably should be. And I think a lot of these guys, I'm buying the dip. Bryce, I don't think you're taking him in a 1-quarterback league. If you're in a 2-quarterback league, I think he's cheaper than he should be, and I think he will put up stats in certain games. Chuba Hubbard, I think you will kind of have to pay normal for him. He's a 1,000-yard rusher. Did not get a lot of competition in the backfield. I know Dowdle and a 4th-round pick in ETN showed up, but I still think he's going to be the engine. If he can stay healthy, he's a good pick.
I will be reacquiring him. I got him off waivers last year in like week 5, and he was probably my best running back for the rest of the season.
I think if you can get him as your second running back, you love it. He might not catch enough out of the backfield to be like a great, but the floor is so high when he is healthy. And he has an offensive line that run blocks well. And he has a quarterback that likes feeding the running back, a coach that likes feeding the running back. Chuba Hubbard's a good one,
especially in a standard league.
Yes, if not catching the ball a ton doesn't hurt you with point per reception, then absolutely. Teteroa McMillan, to me, if you are somebody that is okay with a little risk, he may even be a little pricey, but I don't think so. I'd be interested in Teteroa McMillan next year for a few reasons. First, I think he's going to get volume. I think he's going to be out there. I think he's the 8th overall pick, so there's a certain level of we're going to throw you the ball that comes with that. Secondly, the more and more I watch of him, and I saw this pre-draft, but once he was picked by the Panthers and I dove further into it, the more I watch him, I don't think Arizona used this enough. I don't see how he isn't a massive red zone option. His catch radius is ginormous. His arms, the wingspan, I don't know if he measured in at the combine or if it even was like outlandishly large. He plays like his arms are 10 feet long. It really doesn't make any sense. And because of that, when the windows get smaller and you're doing things like anytime someone's along the back line of the end zone, you throw it high enough to where either he's going to get it or it sails into the stands. That's a no-risk play that they could run on 1st and goal, knowing they could turn around and run it on the next play. They could do so many other things, get the quarterback movement. But why not try Teteroa McMillan as long as you tell Bryce, high enough that he gets it or absolutely no one gets it, and then you have the 6'4.5" guy with go-go gadget arms try to make the catch, I think he's going to catch 10 touchdowns. And touchdowns are the great equalizer in fantasy football. You can have a bad day, 2 catches for 12 yards. If one of them's a touchdown, that wasn't that bad a day, especially in a PPR, right? Because you're getting 2 for the catch. You get 3.2 plus 7. You're in double digits already. Plus 6, you're 9, 10 points already. And that's a bad day, which is a good floor. Teteroa McMillan, I'm in. Adam Thielen. Again, I think his price is going to be pushed down. He's not going to win you the league, but here's Adam Thielen's role on your team. You have 2 guys injured. You have 2 guys injured, 1 on a bye. You could do so much worse than putting Adam Thielen into your lineup in that situation. Chris Olave has another concussion. He had, 4 in his first 3 years? Or name your player, especially if you have some older guys. If you have some Mike Evans, some Tyreek Hill, some Cooper Kupps, some of these guys that are a little bit older, if they get hurt for a week or 2, and then you had to put in Adam Thielen, he might just give you 6 catches. Might be 6 catches for 45 yards, might mix in a touchdown, and then you got a great day. Xavier Legette, last-round flyer. I don't think he's going before the last round of your draft. He might group into this next group that I'm going to tell you about, but if you want to take him in the last round, he's as good of a lotto ticket in the last round as any other last-round lotto ticket. And the other thing is, if you're in a keeper league, so that last-round pick needs to be with super high ceiling, because if he pops off, you could get him in the second to last round next year, then it's even better. Because at the end, if you could take like a low or a high floor backup running back or something, an aging veteran, or Xavier Legette, I think Legette fits in there. The others, we're talking Coker, Renfro, Jatavian Sanders, the tight end. I'm as big of a Jatavian Sanders fan as there is. I talk about Hunter Renfro a lot because I love the way he routes people up. You're not drafting him. Like, I'm not going to sit here and advise you to. But keep an eye on them, right? If they show life, be the first to waivers on them. Because the other thing about this Panthers offense is nobody's role really outside of Chuba and McMillan is locked in, right? There's a lot of targets and a lot of touches that could go to some of these other guys. If Jatavian Sanders truly did, get in the best shape of his life, and if in game 1 he has 5 catches, I'm scooping him. I'll find somebody to drop. I'm putting him on my roster because you don't get pass-catching tight ends that often that can be effective. So don't draft him. Again, I was in a league last year. I was invited by a listener where the only rule was every week you had to play one Panther. It was like a Panthers fan league. And I'd never been in a league like that, so I was like, okay. It was miserable. I hated it. If you didn't have Chuba, eventually I traded a pretty good running back, I forget who it was, like a starting running back for Eddie Pinheiro, because I was like, I'll just start the kicker and forget about it. And it was a ridiculous trade on the surface, but I just needed to play a Panther.
Looks like we're flexing David Moore this week, fellas.
Yeah, and I didn't think about it. Other guys drafted them all way earlier, so I was in a bad way. But my point is, I think this year that league would be more palatable. Like 6 of the 12 rather than 2 of the 12 might have somebody that you don't absolutely hate that you have to play. Like I never want to trade a starting running back for a kicker, but I had to for our Panthers rule. So there you go. Who are the best fantasy picks from the Panthers? That's how I describe them right there. Tedero, McMillan, and Chuba would be the 2 that I'm really in on in a traditional league. The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan, is coming to a close. Do we have Overdrive today? Max?
Yes, we do. We do. We've got the conversation about the prospect allegedly did not want to work out with the Hornets because of LaMelo Ball.
Soft.
And then we had the Lakers sale conversation, how that relates to David Tepper and the Panthers.
$10 billion for the Los Angeles Lakers. You have a dream of owning a team? Invent something lucrative. That's all I can say. Overdrive is coming up next. The show will be back tomorrow at 3. Hopefully you all will be here. Subscribe to our YouTube, as I've asked you a few times today. I would greatly appreciate it. Thank you to Max for keeping us up and running, sitting in for Dennis. We'll solidify things at some point in time with a rotation. But until then, have a great night, everybody.
Hey, Carolina Panthers fans, it's Dennis Cox from 99.9 The Fan. We're in the offseason, but it doesn't mean me and my co-host, WREL TV's Chris Lee, take a break from our podcast, Panthers Playbook. In every episode, we'll keep you up to date on Panthers news as training camp approaches, insights on the rookies, the free agents, and the surprises, plus all the insider info on the upcoming season. Follow and subscribe to Panthers Playbook wherever you discover your favorite podcast or watch on YouTube.
NASCAR Prime is gearing up for the Tricky Triangle at Pocono.
This is the moment you've all been waiting for.
After 5 decades of racing tradition, it's clear that strategy is king at Pocono.
Finally, some separation between first, second, and third.
3 legendary turns, 3 unique approaches.
Wow, that's close.
Who will tame the the Triangle this year. Don't miss the Cup Series at Pocono, streaming Sunday at 1 p.m. Eastern. NASCAR, it's on Prime.
Hey, this is Luke with Newcomb & Company. We are a residential, commercial, plumbing, HVAC company who's been serving the community for over 70 years. Honesty is the biggest policy around here. You know, we take pride in everything we do, anything we touch. We're not one of those companies that come in, throw it in, and then you can't get a hold of them again. We're there with you, hand in hand. Here at Newcomb & Company, what stands apart from other companies is we actually do more than just AC and heat pumps. We do boilers, geothermals, furnaces, radiant floor, anything that is odds and ends that nobody else can touch is what we thrive on. At Newcomb & Company, we do same-day service. That's also another thing that helps us stand apart from other places is we do same-day service because we have enough professionals to get out to these houses to solve what the problems are. And we're on 24/7 on emergency basis, weekends, nights, holidays, you name it, we're there.
Newcomb & Company, your independent train dealer.